Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to True Psych Ward. This is Dr. B. Hi, Jen. This is Jen.
Hi, Dr. B. How
How
are
are you?
you?
I'm good.
I'm good too, thank you.
Good. See, we haven't talked in what? This is like day 2, right? That we didn't have our phone call.
Yes.
And I already forgot how to communicate with the world.
uh, same,
How's everyone
same, same.
doing? Hope everyone's well. Come on in. Come on in. Today we're going to be talking about the timeline, the rest of the timeline. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to come in, say hello, get comfortable, grab a drink. I have my strawberry lemonade.
Yum. So I have a little Kurt Cobain related anecdote to say.
Please do.
Okay, so everybody knows that I live and breathe American Horror Story. Okay, and in preparation for the next season, I decided to watch all the seasons from the beginning. And I've watched Murder House. This is probably like my third go around, and I never realized how much they modeled Evan Peters' character Tate visually to look like Kurt Cobain. I don't know why it just now clicked in or whatever, but I realized that the um, the year that he did everything that he did and ended up dying was 1994, and then he's got the long bowl cut that they, just his outfits. I never noticed that in the other 37 billion times I've watched that season, but this time I was like, oh, light bulb moment. So I felt like a genius for a second. When I hear myself talk back about it, I actually sort of feel like now I sound stupid because probably everybody in the world realized that the first go round.
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch any of the American Horror Story. I'm not good with watching TV. I did watch. I sat through. What do you call it? What's the one called? Breaking Bad. That one.
Oh, okay.
And that's it. And then I couldn't commit anymore because I watched Breaking Bad like 3 years after it came out, and I couldn't imagine sitting in between episodes waiting for a week like for the next one. So I was like, nope, I'm not doing that to myself. Thank you, executive session. Welcome.
It's difficult.
Yes.
I'm not a fan. I prefer when they put. I'm spoiled now, and I prefer when they do the whole season all at once. But American Horror Story is one that I will wait a week. I need to watch the new episode on the night that it premieres. Like I can't watch
Yeah.
it the next day on Hulu or whatever. I just cannot do it.
Yeah.
But we've been waiting 2 years since the last season ended. It's time. So anyway, that's just my little story.
Yeah. Uh Hi Aaron. Welcome, welcome. No worries, Aaron. Hi Monica. Willkommen. Hi SM. A YouTube doctor. Yeah, so I don't want to talk or address, the drama because that's not why we're here. So I appreciate all I want to say regarding that is I appreciate all of your support and your kindness that you've been showing me and your kind messages and emails and comments. I really appreciate it. Um, but yeah, that's that. I think everything that needed to be said about that was said, right? So,
Agreed. It's been addressed, and that's that.
mm-hmm. Okay, so saw the timeline episode that we that I premiered yesterday or the day before. I don't even know. Do we want to kind of start off with some questions, or do we jump right into it?
I don't see any questions
Yeah, I'll
at this
wait
point.
to see if any has.
Yeah.
But the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up. Let me just find. Oh man, let me find where I saved it. Hi, faraway eyes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hi, silly Nana.
Oh, silly Nana, hi.
You almost gave me a heart attack. There are no stupid questions, Aaron, please. Okay, so Cindy wants to know, what do I think happened to Kurt? Well, I'm convinced that he was murdered because of the combination of the lethal dose of heroin and the shotgun. There's no way that he would have been able to operate the shotgun. Just period. Like there's that. As far as how it happened and who did it, I'm still, I have questions about obviously the people who were on the scene during that last week, specifically the day that he died, who were in the house, so that those were some people that I would want to ask questions. But and yeah, I have some theories, but I'm not sure that I want to jump the gun quite yet. um yes, let me see. Aaron had a question. The whole thing in California, way to trap him in one place. Let me think about this question. So Aaron's asking if the whole rehab thing in California was a way to trap him in one place. On Courtney's part, yes, I think that that's part of it. I think that she was losing. She's very controlling, and it's evident throughout their relationship. And as when nothing worked, as he was drifting farther away from her emotionally and was quite frankly done. I believe that was one way. Organizing the whole intervention with the record company was a way to kind of keep him in check, because she was basically threatening to take everything away. The record company was saying, if you don't do this, we're out. She was saying, I'm out with Francis, so I believe so. Yeah, it was definitely an attempt to, keep him under her eye, or in her view.
Under her thumb, in her eyesight.
Yeah.
That. I always thought it was her laying the foundation for self-harm as part of it.
Yeah.
I felt like she did it in part to continue to attempt to maintain control and keep him under her thumb. But I also think that she did it for to lay the foundation. Obvious, people don't people who when everything is going great, people don't check into rehab. You know what I mean? So obviously, just checking into rehab in and of itself is an acknowledgement on some level of an issue or or issues going on, right? So I always felt like it was it was also an attempt to create a narrative as well. She was starting to lay the foundation. I felt like she had multiple plans.
Yeah,
and
she did.
Yeah, she So that's what I always thought anyway.
Yeah, so I just pulled up the timeline that I started working on like way back, and I think it's a good visual, because I'm visual if you haven't realized by now. But you can kind of see the progression, and then especially knowing, what was going on behind the scenes. Sorry, a school bus is passing by. So it's interesting to see the progression of, how their relationship just really deteriorated, and deteriorated like relatively quickly too.
Yeah, it was
So
pretty rapid.
so you have the Vanity Fair article in 92, and that was the traumatizing time for them. And I think at this point Kurt was definitely angry, and I think his anger might have been misplaced, because I mean, maybe it wasn't, who knows, but they were definitely upset with the Department of Family Services for taking Francis. And Courtney still to this day is very bitter about that. But I've worked in the, obviously in the field. So if I'm reading a report that, says that both parents are intravenous drug users, and, that there's a possibility that she used during pregnancy, of course, like, what state is going to say, oh, it's cool, it's just, it was just a oopsie.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
they have to do their thing. And so, all this anger and all this fury, I feel like it was just all of Courtney's rage. It was a full blown like narcissistic rage that happened after that article, because yeah, and that's also around the time when Kurt started having more and more issues with his stomach. And she actually says that, she started turning into a maid. She was expected to help him, to feed him, to, take care of him. And she said, I started resenting him. I started resenting that. And a lot of her former band members also believe that, that this resentment that she had for Kurt for having to be his nursemaid is the original strain on the relationship. So
Which is unfortunate, because that is what you sign up for when you marry somebody. Not obvious, you know what I'm saying? But you do sign up for better or worse in sickness and in health. And part of that is leaning on one another when you're not well. So if one of you is sick, the other one picks up the slack. And I think that she thought that marrying him, she would be like in the lap of luxury, and everything would be done and taken care of for her. Or, you know what I mean? And she wouldn't have to really do anything. I don't know. It's messed up that she, became resentful because she had to help for a very brief period of time, help her husband. I mean, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's convenient now? Courtney Love has a very, very long, like an extensive criminal history, and I was just actually going over some of her how do you say, biographical?
Yeah, biographical.
Yes, information, just to kind of refresh myself. And she really, like, she's been hustling out there since she was a kid, and Kurt wasn't street smart like that. Kurt wasn't at
Rough.
her level. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like by the time she was 17, 18, she had already done 3 trips in Asia, doing whatever sex work, going as a sex worker.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kurt
Hardened.
was
He wasn't as hardened as she
no,
was.
no, and she was around drugs since then. She's a stereotypical runaway, who fell into the prostitution ring, became part of it, fell into the drug scene, became part of that. And that was actually, one of her first hustles was selling drugs. And that's something that her dad told me about too.
Oh wow.
That, yeah, that she would bring all these people over to his house and they would steal from them. And, you know, so much so that every house that she ended up being placed in, they would kick her out of. She could not hold a stable relationship for the life of her. So it's quite, yeah. And
Yeah.
you can see that around that time when she was expected to take care of him, all of a sudden the police calls start increasing, right?
Yeah.
So May 2nd, 93, I believe this was the first attempt on his life. I truly do. This is an overdose call where, I've read this before, and it's just a ridiculous. It's a really ridiculous. I don't know how to zoom this in. That's quite sad. But oh, hold on. Let me try this. Nope. Yeah. So he was apparently overdosing for like 2 hours. Who overdoses on heroin for 2 hours? No one. It's not like, who are the cops taking this down to? It's like,
Right.
so okay, so he's okay,
Well,
so he's a
actually, to be fair to the cops, in hindsight, I think it's good that they took it down the way that she said it.
oh yeah,
Otherwise, we wouldn't have this record. So
true. Absolutely.
I decided today I'm going to be half full. Now, tomorrow might be a different story, but today I'm going to be half full.
Yeah. Yeah, so she says that he injected himself with $30 or $40 worth of heroin. That is, out there in the streets, really like not that much. I feel like that's like an average everyday heroin users, you know, um, deal for like a couple of weeks that they're in that phase. But I don't think that that's uh something that you would OD on. Now if he was completely clean and then went to do that all at once, then possibly, but then he wouldn't be able to drive himself home, and he wouldn't be gradually deteriorating like it says here,
Right.
that he talked incoherently, this and that, and then Courtney, in an effort to save him, injected him with, I hate this, buprenorphine, which is an opiate. Oh my gosh, I can't talk.
An opiate
Blocker.
reversal blocker. Yeah.
Yes, and then topped it off with a Valium, 3 Benadryl, and 4 codeine, which is also opium Tylenol tablets. Now,
Where did she go to school to be a nurse?
I cannot process this. So what this is, guys. Okay, so he's presumed to have ingested heroin. So she doubles it up with a codeine, and then puts Valium on top of that, because if you mix the two, you get respiratory depression and freaking you know um, speed up the process of overdosing. And on top of all of that, let me just hit you with 50 milligrams of the blocker too. So what she did there is she immediately induced what are they called? Oh my gosh, what are they
I don't know
called?
what you're trying to say.
Precipitating withdrawals.
There you go.
So the symptoms that are described, that he's delirious, talking coherently, shaking, those are not your typical heroin overdose symptoms, but they are precipitated withdrawal symptoms. So if what this report reads is true, then I would anticipate that the symptoms that he was, I don't know, hospitalized for were induced by her. So it's
Yeah.
crazy as to me. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't
Guys.
understand that cocktail that she gave him. Like that's I don't see how she would think that that would be helpful. I mean, okay, she's not a pharmacist, right? But if somebody is overdosing, um, wouldn't wouldn't you call 911 and ask them what to do? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like the benzos alone,
Well,
it's
that's
dangerous.
well, that's what I'm saying, and this is a time where she's resentful of him, that she has to take care of him,
Hmm.
and mixing drug cocktails also isn't a strange technique or method for her either. So, but this is just something that I found very alarming. Like from the jump, it was just like, wow.
Well, I agree, White Rabbit. The drug addicts know drugs. Okay, I believe that, but I feel like if they do know drugs, which she did, if her um, what she was trying to do was to bring him out of an overdose, then she should know that that cocktail that she mixed together wouldn't do it, especially the Valium, because benzos, just like Dr. B said, they you take enough benzos. I mean, all a benzo does is it controls brain function, and your brain is what controls your respiration. You take enough benzos, and you will lower your respirations to the point where you just cease to breathe. So, like, that's why I feel like that she should have known better. That's what I'm trying to
She
say.
did. She
I
did.
think it was intentional.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's that. But I do want to get to. Oh, are there any other questions? I want to get to the screen where I have all my persons of interest lined up. The bottom line is you don't give people benzodiazepines when they're overdosing on opiates. Period. Like you don't do that. You're literally killing the person. 1 second. Oh, I found it. That was fast. I'm impressed. Okay, so timeline. So these are all the people who were in and around the house during the time that Kurt Cobain died. So I know Twist of Lemonade in here, and she, as you've heard in the last video, has so bravely attempted to ask Jessica Hopper some questions because she does put herself smack dab in the middle. And not only that, but she then says that she hears footsteps, and creaking noises and movement in the house. when he was supposed to have died or been killed, or but it's just so convenient. Like, it just doesn't add up, and it's obvious that it's fabricated for the most part, and that the gaps in the gaps in the story are, yes, exactly, grunge gods. Like, how do you not hear the blast? So
I'll look at Allie's comment because she's spot on.
Eric Erlinson looks like Marilyn Manson, if Marilyn yes. So well, I don't know if we're gonna have Twist coming up. I asked her, but I hope she musters up the courage. She's a little nervous, but I've asked her to tell us about her experience on
Yes, please do
live.
come up. I'll
Yeah,
behave. I promise.
yeah. So yes, I would like. I already kind of got an interview from Twist, and was going through it to transcribe it and do all that fun stuff. But I figured, since she's here already, might as well do it live, and I feel like that would be more fun
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen the reaction response in the comments to her interview, and a lot of people are experiencing the same that I've experienced when I watched the first time, which was like, holy crap, good for you. Like, I thought,
Mm-hmm.
just by listening to her, I thought she was a journalist, because I thought, like, she kept it together. She stuck to the point, when Hopper responded like defensive, and when she got defensive and emotional, Twist was able to keep it together and not react to that, or not give her that satisfaction of giving her a reason to cry, though I'm sure she could have, you know?
So Scout Inquirer has a question.
Yes.
Did Kurt normally do his own drugs, or did Courtney administer the drugs to him?
He did it on his own. Yeah. Well, and she claims that, he had to, like, that Kurt had to inject her because she was just so green in one of her statements somewhere. But, obviously, like, that's not true. And that's another thing that I've noticed. She really tries to get away and steer away from the drug questions. She really doesn't want to answer those, but it's quite obvious that, there's some sort of drug trafficking going on over there. So she doesn't answer that straightforward, and she minimizes it a lot, but yeah. Yay, we have Twist here. Hold on.
Yay!
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Can
Okay.
you hear okay, Jen?
Yeah.
Your camera's on. I'm not sure if you want it to be on.
I have tape over it. I was like, I didn't know what I was
Oh.
doing. And I was on Safari, and it was like it wasn't accepting it. And I was like, what the fuck do I do? Okay, I take a picture of it, I'm gonna send it on to Natasha. And then literally it was like, go into your your settings, go to Safari, allow mic, allow camera. So I don't know. I look good in black.
Yeah.
If you don't want your camera on, if you look, you're on your phone, right?
I'm on an iPad.
Okay, so you're on your iPad. If you look at the bottom, there should be mic, cam, and like a little gear that says cam mic. If you hit that middle one, you can turn your camera off, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Jen, you're amazing. But when I click on that, it says front camera, back camera. Boo. Okay, hold on. Wait on. So then it says cam.
Oh, there you go.
Ah, there you go.
Nice.
Bingo.
Now, the only thing I can't do is I can't see everybody's Chat. Wait on.
Oh,
Chat.
okay, right when you where you were at before,
Yeah.
it'll say chat. If you click the chat button,
Yeah.
okay, and then you'll either have private chat or comments. Just
So hit comments.
yes,
Yay! There it
ma'am,
is.
and then you've got it.
Yeah.
But the
After the
sucky part is you can't
again.
chat.
no, you can't chat.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just
Sorry,
read
guys. I
them.
can't chat back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
That's
thank
fine.
you for joining us. I
Oh,
really appreciated it. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. And this is last minute too.
Yeah, it is. I just want to say hi, Jane. You cracked me the. Can I curse?
Of
yes.
course.
I'm Irish. I'm Irish. I curse like a fucking docker. But Jane, you cracked me the fuck up. Like I'm literally holding my abs, just going. What is it? What is it you say? What is it? A something bit a something million.
Oh, 11 billion.
11 billion. Oh my god, you cracked me the fuck up. Like you're
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you. I
from-
try.
Oh no, you're great. You're great. But from trying to find out how to do this, I literally, because I was listening to what you were saying. So just go back into what you were talking about, because I've missed about 5 minutes of it. So keep talking, ladies. I'm mad to just be like what you were just saying there.
No, I think I was just done. I think I was talking about Jessica and how I thought that you handled yourself great because you know she did. I mean, you didn't even get an opportunity to fully ask the question before she got really defensive. So why don't well before we get there, why don't we just go back and tell us how the F did that happen?
Okay. But first of all, when you were saying that I didn't get a chance to ask the question, I think I should have shut the fuck up a bit longer. You know, like I was all grand about it when I first heard it. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then as months went by and I might re-listen, I was like, oh God, you should have just shut the fuck up. Like maybe, but then when you listen to it, you hear all the other people kind of intervening and like coming at me, and I was like, no, I think I'm okay with how I handled it, like, you know. But as you said, go back to it. I'm not going to even go back to that day, okay? I've got to go, that was October 2015. I got to go back to July 2015, okay? Because I had gone to Leeds with the fam. So it was myself, the boyfriend, my son, and his best friend, wasn't it? Yeah. And we went to Leeds for 2 nights to see NOFX, Alkaline Trio, and Lagwagon. And it was deadly. Great crack. So it was the second night. Yeah, second night. And we just hung around, and I was doing my usual, like, you just play it cool and then you just get to meet everyone or whatever. So who came along? It was actually Hefe and Chris Flippin from Lagwagon. And man, people always go on about Novoselic. Well, he's 6'7". Well, actually, my best friend in the world, his name is Tall John. Tall John, right? He's 6'7". So he's like this really tall goth guy with like long black hair, but boy, fuck, like he's 6'7". Like he's just such a big guy and most wonderful guy. See, I told you I ramble. But anyway, Chris Flippin, he's 6'9", right? And the funniest thing ever is seeing myself, my boyfriend, just looking up to the sky at him, just going, man, you're fucking tall. So anyway, so we met El Hefe, and he is the friendliest guy ever. Like, funny enough, after I was speaking to you there last week or the week before, Natasha, I went back looking at photographs, and one of the photographs is he's already holding on to my boyfriend, and then he's got his arms outstretched to me. And it's just like, oh, he's such a lovely dude. Yeah, he's so nice. So I think he was saying something to me, because for the second night we were up on the balcony, and they always have their lights on full, NOFX. And I think I stood up straight and roared something at them, but they saw me and they started giving me grief back. And El Hefe was like, you were the chick up on the balcony. I said, fuck, it was me, yeah. Roaring shit back at him. So we started off anyway, having a laugh. And to everybody that's listening here, I swear to God, lads, like, I mean, they're the furthest thing, like, with their genre of music. Why would it even come into my head to ask? I don't know why. I don't know why, as we were chatting away, I don't know. I was just like, hey, do you think Kurt Cobain did he kill himself, or do you think like he was whacked or what? I don't know why. And Hefe looked at me with the most seriousness ever. Like, he looked at me and he goes, oh, he was definitely murdered. Oh, he was definitely murdered. I was like, fuck off, man. And he said, everybody all up the West Coast knows about this. Everyone. And I said, really? He's like, yep. And he said, he started talking about festivals that they'd been. I think he said we played at one festival with Hole afterwards, after Kurt was dead. And he said, she is just like nasty. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, she was out of her head and she had a load of handlers around her. And he said, she was handed the baby. She could barely hold the baby, and then like handed the baby back to the nanny, and she was just a mess. And we were all looking at her going, fucking hell. But where see, I told you now I'm going to go off track with on now. Oh, so he said, I think it was him that mentioned El Duce. And I've always said, since I saw the documentary Kurt and Courtney, I've always said when he said, and if you've got more beer, I'll do some more talking. And I was like, man, if I was there, I would have gone down the street and brought back a fucking trolley full of beer, because he just seemed like a nice dude. Like, and the funny thing was, when Hefe started talking about him, it just confirmed everything I felt about Duce. So he turned around and he goes, he definitely thinks Duce was murdered. And I was like, what? Really? You do think that as well? And he was like, yeah. He said, oh, we knew him well. He said, I'll tell you something. He was nothing more than a happy drunk. And I said, go away. And he said, yeah. He said, you know, we could be having parties or whatever, and fucking Duce would end up at the door knocking in. We let him in. He never caused any hassle, never did. Do you know what I mean? Never did anything. And you can see how cool he is in that interview where he's at a party and people are over talking him. And he's literally telling the story of being offered the 50 grand or whatever. He just seems like a super nice guy. And I mean, look, people go, oh, what's he? He's this or that. Yeah, that was his band. It was a shock rocker band. Like, it was all entertainment, you know? So let me think. What else did see, my son now will be like, oh, ma'am, he said this as well. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, did he? Oh, and he's out tonight. Wait. Oh, he had turned around and said, and I hate saying this about she's not a girl anymore. She's a grown woman. She's lovely. But before it ever became anything, before we even knew that she was married to Isaiah Silva, he was able to say that she was addicted to drugs, which was Francis, God's helper at the time. And I was actually so shocked at that. I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, she's seeing a counselor and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, that really shocked me. Like, I just was like, couldn't believe has she gone down that road, etc. So I could be leaving something out there now because I'm doing this off the cuff. So the next thing, the lads were chatting to Hef, and I started chatting to Chris Flippin, looking up at him with a crick in my neck. And the weird thing is, he kind of pulled me aside ever so gently, as if he wanted to take me away from the lads just a little bit, and really talked to me really gently, and was like, no, seriously, like, he definitely was murdered. And that was the weirdest part for me, was how he was. That he was like, you know, it's a serious thing. He definitely was. And like, I came away from that like with my head just going, wait a minute, this is fucking huge. Like, it's like, I just think that there are so many people out there that like people aren't even thinking of asking, that heard something on the grapevine, that are in touring bands, that heard something from someone that knows something, because it's not just a rumor. They've heard, they know. You get me? So fast forward anyway, I was in a Cobain group, and then shit went down, and because there's always a shit stir, and it ended up being maybe about 10 of us that we all really trusted each other, and we had everything on the case, and they're fucking super lovely people. And they got in contact with me on the Saturday night, and they said, Jessica Hopper is going to be in Dublin tomorrow doing a book review thing. I was like, fuck off. This is late the Saturday night. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. And they were like, oh, you really got to go. Like, but then they were like, no pressure. I was like, okay. Oh, shit. So I mulled it over. And I started going, if I was to go, what would I ask her? What would I do? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So pulled out some books, this, that, and the other. And I formulated my question. And I was like, by the time I went to bed, I goes, I'm going to go. But then when I get up in the morning, that'll be the teller. It'll be a definite yes or no. Got up in the morning. I was like, yeah, I'm going. And then, for all you guys out there, I got the worst period from hell. I get the worst cramps, and I was like, fuck no, fuck you, Dark Lord. But yeah, so I got a really bad period, and I was like, this is all I need. So anyway, travelled all the way up on my own, kept in contact with the boyfriend, and it was basically first come, first served. There was no charge to go in or anything like that. And it was really weird where it was held. It was a disused laundrette. I was like, what the fuck? There was like washing machines and stuff like to your right. I was like, okay, this is really odd. So when it was finally on, I walked in and she was to my left sitting down talking to people, and she just like looked straight at me. It was literally like this foreshadowing or something, because I know I didn't give her a dirty look or any menacing look, like not at all. That's not me. Like I'm very, very friendly, you know. I don't know, as I'd said to you, maybe it was because I was dressed, I had a little jacket on, I was dressed like all in black, and you know, the hair, the makeup, whatever. And she just kind of looked up and was like, oh,
looking glorious.
Yeah, let's say looking glorious, the punk rock chick. But so went in, and there was just, you know, individual seats, the fold-up chairs all laid out, and her actual book reading thing is online, and you'll see it. And if you're looking straight at it, she keeps looking over, it would be to her left, but when you're looking at the screen, it's to your right. And that's where I'm sitting, and there's no one else really sitting around where I am, because I kind of always do that. I'd sit off on my own. And it was really weird. I kept thinking to myself, why does she keep saying something and then looking straight at me? Why is she looking straight at me? Am I staring at her? You know, and you're thinking away to yourself, am I staring at her too much? What's going on? And even when you hear my own edited Hopper audio, I'm actually I'm laughing along to what she's saying, like I'm, you know what I mean, going along, blah blah blah. So someone before tried to tell me it wasn't my content, but there was no, like, I don't even know if that was actually the Q&A part, if it was actually videoed. But for the person that tried to say that when they stole my content and that it wasn't mine, I had my phone and I put it on record and held it in my hand, but nobody could see it. There were no signs anywhere in the place. Otherwise, I'm telling you now, I would not have done it. No signs anywhere in the place saying no recording allowed or blah, blah, blah. But I still wasn't going to stand there with a phone up, like, you know, the way people do today. Hey, Jessica, or whatever. So I had it in my hand and I pulled out my piece of paper with my formulated question. So the Q&A began. And by the way, while she was doing her reading, she had already mentioned Cobain, and did that Cobain died for somebody's sins, but not mine. I was like, oh, fuck.
That's
okay.
really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just again, so she said, as part of her during her book reading, she said, Kurt Cobain died for somebody's sins, but not mine. Who says that?
But then she goes on to say, oh, I'm trying to paraphrase, but I paraphrase really badly, but it's something like something, but fuck him, to do with the industry. But he's dead now, so fuck him. Like, I understand, you know, I know it's not probably a literal thing. You have to, like, you know, whatever emotion she's trying to convey. But it just sounds really, you're kind of like, what are you trying to convey there, Jessica? Like, it just really does sound, is she trying to convey it from the side of the music industry or what? You know, I don't know. It just was a bit shocking.
Yeah.
I have to burp, sorry. But yeah, so she had mentioned him. So I thought, okay, I kind of feel it's a little bit more okay for me if I'm going to mention him, if I do get to ask a question. So it did get to the Q&A time, and a little microphone was being handed around, and like, everybody was so meek, you know, it could be handed to a girl, and she'd like I was telling my boyfriend afterwards, I'm like, people are weird, like why don't people just stand
like
up
you would
like,
expect at a book reading?
Yeah, like they'd have the mic and they'd have their chin nearly hitting their chest, going, well, Jessica, so how are you? Yeah, so my question is, and then Jessica would answer back in her, like, she's got a really, really boring voice. Like, I'm so sorry, Jessica, if you're hearing this, I'm so sorry. You know, I really admire her for standing up for feminism and all that and whatnot, but you know, but a really boring voice. So just stick to putting your books out, Jessica, and not doing a Q&A. Thanks very much. But but oh god, bitchiness is out. So yeah, people are really meek, and I was like, oh fuck, I mean, nobody's asking. I thought somebody might ask something, so I ended up being the last, I think, of the questions, and I was like, me, yeah, me. So what I did was I didn't expect a microphone, so I stood up, and nobody else had stood up, so I stood up, and I went to ask, and then you can hear the guy going, oh no, I'll give you the microphone, and I was like, oh cool, thanks, okay. So, there's like, I'm sure a lot of people, or there are a lot of people out there that think that I was a bit of an aggressor towards her. And I swear to God, I did not go up there to emotionally hurt her in any way, to any of that. Because like I tried to be as sensitive as possible in the beginning. You can hear me saying, like, this is about when you were younger. It might be a bit awkward for you. Like I gave her a disclaimer in a sense. Do you know what I mean?
You did.
And she's like going, okay. So to try and just tell you about like my public speaking voice as such or whatever, if people do think I'm a bit of an aggressor, and I'm not. But like when I was in college, I think that's
just say it's a cultural thing. That's what I was.
Irish. We're not fucking rough, fucking bastards. But
look, we have Sam on our team who's Irish, and let me tell you, that's mild. That's mild.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm messing here, by the way. You actually don't want to know what I'm like if I'm in a temper or if I'm loud. It's fucking tragic. It's fucking tragic. Like
we love Sam though.
Yeah,
we do.
My son was only staying upstairs, like he was talking about a song, and he was like, "Oh, I need a bit to go here, and then maybe a bit." And I was like, "Do you need a girl's vocals on there?" Like messing, And he's like, "Yeah, but," and I goes, "Oh, you want your girlfriend's vocals because she's got like a really sweet voice." And he's like, "Ma'am, if I need like really rough vocals or anything like that, I'll come for you." And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Because you can do he was like, you could do the real grunge like vocals and stuff. And I was like, no problem. Yeah, you motherfucker. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so anyway, right, back to how people might have thought that I was a bit of an aggressor. Back to college. So, you start doing presentations. And a lot of people are like, I'm going to shit my pants when I'm up here. Like, seriously, I'm going to fill my pants with fucking slurry. Like, it's going to happen. And I remember, like, when I would get up, you could have, like, you'd be at the podium or whatever, and you could have, like, your papers in your hand. And your hands could be shaking, but people can't see your hands. You have the slideshow behind you. But if I talked like this, and the next presentation slide here says, nobody could hear if I was nervous or I seem to exude this confidence. Do you know what I mean? And I would come away and like the lecturers be like, well done, and you were very concise, and like there'd be people of different cultures there that English wouldn't be their first language, so you'd have to be forthright and not too can't think of the word, like just have it
no metaphors, just concrete, just to the point.
Concrete. And speaking nice and clearly and loud because there's people at the back and etc. So I took that approach. So anyway, we all know what happened in the audio. If
shall we play it?
Yeah,
what do you think?
If you want. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead while I pull it up. Sorry.
Okay. I'll drink some water.
I'm just gonna pull it up here.
Sorry, guys, I talk a lot.
No. Oh, please.
We wanted to hear you. That's why you're up here.
Yes.
Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm all right. I use jokes and humor to cope with awkward situations. So
I love this, yeah.
That's my coping mechanism.
You're the Chandler of the True Psych word.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, love it.
I do love me some Chandler. I'm not going to lie.
I use very dark humor. That's what I do. Like wicked.
Oh, I can be really dark, but it doesn't always translate well for the YouTubes.
Oh.
So I try to find a good balance. Mainly my dark humor is self-deprecating. I'm harshest and most dark in my humor towards myself.
I can agree with that too. Yeah. Yeah.
I tell the girls at least 80 times a week that I'm going to hell for sure. Oh, this is it. This is the comment. This is going to be the thing that gets me to hell. This is going to be the essay that gets me the full scholarship to hell. Yeah.
Well, I've started a teeny bit incorporating it into my comments and my covers, and somebody be like, "Oh, found your channel, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "That is great. Subscription is optional, but now that you're here, like, there's actually no way out, and the only way out would be maybe if you can get me a vial of your firstborn's pure blood, etc., etc." And I think about it, and then I'm like, okay, this person could be from like a different country, so I have to like go, I hope my dark humor isn't offensive. Do you know, like, I'll go on this big diatribe and you have to get your firstborn's pure blood, a vial of it. You have to get me a leprechaun's underwear or something. Do you know, just just they probably think I'm fucking nuts. Like, well, I am. I don't give a shit. I am. You can't live this life without being a little nuts, huh?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's a little nuts, right? Some people are a little nuts in a way that others can enjoy. And then some people are nuts in a way that requires isolation and a self-hugging jacket.
Yeah.
The fact that you're loose running the streets, clearly you're the first.
But Jen, you don't know, am I wearing a self-hugging jacket in a lovely little padded room right now? That's
well, what did you do? Connect to the StreamYard with your nose?
They let me certain privileges.
Ah.
And I'm just there rocking over back on it. We're going to solve the Cobain case, and they're like, yeah, sure. Look,
today's the day.
Today's the day, and they're like, just give her that iPad. I don't talk to people. So yeah, that's where I am, guys. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna play it. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Jessica. I happen to be friends.
Let me just sound check. Can everyone hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Sometimes I tend to not play the sound.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I happen to be friends with Maureen Herman, and she told me to tell you that she said hi.
Oh, great.
Okay. Now, this question involves when you were quite young, so it might make you feel a bit awkward, okay? So I'm just going to read it out now. According to the Nirvana biography by Everett True, you spoke about Kurt coming back to his house while you and Callie were staying there, that he was in your room chatting and even joking about your shaved head.
I don't really want to.
I'm just going to ask the rest of it.
I don't feel like this is appropriate.
I'm going to just, having spoken.
You're asking me a question about someone who's very close to me.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
I spoke to the NOFX guitarist Hefe and Chris Flippin of Lagwagon earlier this year, and they were both pretty adamant that Kurt was murdered and seemed to know exactly what went down. And my thing is, what was your perception of his mood when he did speak to you that morning, when he chatted?
She's already said she doesn't.
Are you covering for someone? Is there a reason?
That's
One sec.
No, she's uncomfortable.
You know, I mean, when you said that Courtney was very, very generous for you to write for your scenes, is there something behind
Can you
that?
stop asking a question and I can talk to you?
Go first. Go first. Go first. Go first. You look really defensive, by the way, but I'm just saying. No. I know a lot.
Okay, so let's just, you want to go there?
Sure, yeah, sure. No worries. Yeah.
Okay, if this guy doesn't shut up, I don't know how you kept it together.
Oh man, that guy needed a box in the fucking face. Why, seriously. Let me just be, while you have that pause, there's three things when you finish this. Is I want to talk about Maureen, I want to talk about what happened after with that guy, and what was the other thing? What was the other thing? What was the other thing? Maureen and that guy. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. There was another thing, but
Maybe it'll come back up.
it might, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to do is thank you for your question.
No worries.
And I'm going to ask Jessica, do you want to answer the question? Or
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer.
Okay.
It's really interesting sometimes when people seem to have a conspiracy about someone that you care about really.
I understand that. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. As I said, I spoke to El Hefe.
I
I've
don't know.
spoken. Have you heard of NOFX? Come on, you're a music critic. You know NOFX.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
You know
Whoa,
what?
hang on a second, excuse me.
That people
Woman,
periodically.
Just let her finish talking.
I don't know if you even deserve an answer.
Wow.
Well,
Hang on a second.
please don't get upset, okay?
Oh,
And I
please don't get
understand.
upset. You're asking me about someone who was like a family to me.
You were in the house.
Okay, girl. How long? Okay, this was in 2015.
Hmm.
I don't know. My first impression, and every time that I listen to it, it's not changing a lot, but she seems to really be putting on the emotions, like she's overreacting. I feel
That was one of the things. So I said Maureen, I said the end of it with the guy, and then that was the thing that I forgot. What people
Oh,
don't
great.
realize, what people don't realize is I was there. I could see her. Now, I'm not a liar, so I never have any, like, you know, when people are liars, they're always falling over themselves and stuff. So I would never have stuff in my life to fall over. I'm always like straight up, blah blah blah. There's nothing I have to fall over in my life because I'll just tell you the truth. And the truth is, she was throwing me daggers like she wanted to put me in a fucking shallow grave straight away. There were no tears. There were no tears. And I've come across people in my life when caught in situations like that, and they do the, I don't know, and there's no fucking tears, and they run to someone, and then that other someone will believe them, and then they come over to you, and they're like, what did you do, sir? And you're like, what the fuck? I did nothing. That's exactly what she did.
Gaslighting, yeah.
Gaslighting, right? There were no fucking tears. And I was sickened that she started doing that. But she, through the whole thing, she was looking at me like she wanted me fucking dead, throwing me daggers. And then when this continues on, the stopped. And then straight away she turned to like, what do you know? Go back to the internet. Like she just turned nasty.
Yeah, she said, I don't even know if you deserve an answer. Who are you to determine who deserves an answer? First of all, you need to answer the police a couple of questions because you were inside of that house when he died.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And I
the
mean,
whole, I don't know that you deserve an answer. Like, it's just rude. Like, I don't think you came across rude at all.
But even how she says, don't you think I fucking know that? Like there's a telling in that already. So don't you think I fucking know that? So she knows she was in the house.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that there was a fear or something there. There was a fear, anger in that reply to me. And like you know, I wasn't looking at her in an angry, defensive way. I kept saying like, you know, yeah, okay, you know, but the second she would get defensive back at me, I will fucking get defensive at you. I'm literally like, you know, I don't fucking who are NOFX. And I was like, you're a music critic. Like, of course you're gonna know where they are. They're one of the biggest punk bands. Like, do you know what I mean? That got big. Like, you know.
Yeah, that was like a blatant, that was almost like an insult, you know.
It's what I love about Fat Mike is I swear to God, he will always speak the truth. He'll always go, well, I think this is, I think is that fucking man will, he just, he's fearless. He's fearless. Do you know what I mean? I love it, especially with the Nardware thing when he was like, yep, it's Courtney Love. So.
Yeah. All right, let's
So
keep
when
on.
he was supposed to be missing.
Stop it.
I'm asking you
I don't
something.
fucking know that.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Excuse me.
I will leave.
Excuse me, you're outside our guest.
Yeah, no worries. I will leave. No worries. No worries.
Excuse me, and also,
No worries.
would you mind doing a favour?
Yeah.
We just come back here and have a quick shout.
You can if you want. I'm sorry for upsetting you, but I
Sorry,
actually think that you're covering something.
Excuse me.
You're covering for someone.
Excuse me.
And you're scared of someone. And I would say that was Courtney Love.
Excuse me. Sorry for.
I'm sorry for upsetting you, Jessica, but that's how I feel. No. There's a lot more people that I've spoken to, and it's not just the internet.
Excuse me. Do me a favour. Could you delete that, please?
What?
Excuse me.
So he must have, I don't know how he
Cobain
saw
died for somebody's sins.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I was gonna let it play.
Yeah, let it play.
It's
Sorry.
not mine.
I used to see
Yeah, I'll just go back.
it at the cafe.
Because this is the quote.
Kurt Cobain.
Delete that, please.
Excuse me.
Kurt Cobain died for somebody's sins, but not mine. I used to see them at the cafe. We spent some time with El Duce. You know how they found El Duce?
Dead?
Found him dead with no head.
I did not know that.
Yes. He found him on train tracks with his head on one side and his body on the other.
Committed suicide?
No, it's Courtney Love.
And you are fat?
Found Fat Mike.
Now, the original, when that originally went up on Nardwar, when he said no, it was Courtney Love, it was actually reversed. So it was like, and I got my boyfriend to reverse it like properly. And we were like, fuck, he actually said no, it was Courtney Love. So that was amazing find. But what was I getting at here? You can still hear me, yeah? Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. Duh.
Oh, no. I was like, I'm talking to myself. Oh, what's new? Okay.
No, that happens.
Okay, yeah. I was like,
Yeah, so you were saying Maureen and then the annoying
Yeah.
guy.
So what I'll say
kept it-
first is we'll go from where the interview ended. Now, I don't know how he thought, can you delete that, please? Because what you can do with an iPhone is you can put it on audio record and like, what is
Lock
it?
your
When-
screen.
Yeah, lock your screen. So it's nothing. How are you going to know that that's record? So unless like when I was fumbling like with getting stuff, it might have come up. But I honestly was like, how did he even think that was recorded? But he did. So I said, so he walked me back. And there was another guy there. He was like a pure hipster guy with the hair kind of in a man bun. He was like a big guy. And he said, can you delete that, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I hope. I said, it's my property. And the two lads, the two of them were like, call the Gardaí. I was like, call him away.
What?
And yeah, they wouldn't let me out the door. The door is about 10 feet away from me. And
Wow.
he was like, call the Gardaí. I said, fucking call him away. I said, because if you think I've done nothing wrong, I said, you're the one that's going to look like a fool. And I said, are ye actually? So I looked at the two of them and they kept eyeing each other as in they didn't know what they were doing. And I said, I'm telling you something now. I said, if you're stopping me from going out that fucking door, I said, you have a whirlwind of shit coming your way. And your man looked at the hipster guy and he said, open the door, let her out. So as I went out, I went, fuck you. Out I went, and I actually went, woo, when I got out the door. And straight on the corner is a spar. And there was a homeless guy that I had actually saluted before I went in. I actually went down to him and told him the whole story while he's looking at me going, you're a crazy bitch. And then I was literally like, I'm going to talk to you right now because I wanted to leave all the story until I got home to tell like my 10 people, I think, and my lovely little Cobain group, and like my boyfriend properly, like the whole story. And I told him, and then I got him a sandwich, a Coke, a water, tobacco, a lighter, and papers. And he shook my hand, and I was like, thanks, man, for listening to me. Like, I'm sorry you had to put up with me, like, or whatever, you know. So yeah, I felt really nice, like, or whatever. So I got the taxi back to Houston Station. Had to wait about an hour then, mulling things over, just sitting there on my own. There wasn't many people there because it was the last train. And home I went. So that was that. That's what happened. Yeah, they actually did that. They were trying to not leave me out. So whatever they thought that they could hold me on, they're fucking off their heads, like. So
Wow.
so the Maureen Herman thing. Now I love Maureen. Okay, right. I have met her twice, which is really weird. 20 years apart. Can everybody hear me now? It sounds like things have gone.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're there. The same month, 20 years apart. Okay. And so I had met her when.
So for those who don't, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, yeah.
For those who don't know, Maureen Herman is a musician.
Yeah, she's the bassist of Babes in Toyland. Not the
Right.
original bassist. So there was Michel Leon, whose boyfriend was, oh God, what's his name? He got murdered with, he was with Henry Rollins. Joe Cole.
Joe Cole.
Yeah. So that's why Michel Leon left Babes in Toyland. And then Maureen came in. And I met Maureen May 95. and she was wonderful. And then I got to meet her May 2015, and which is that's all the same year. Here we go. So it was May, then it was July, then it was Hopper was October. And because we had been in correspondence like on Facebook and this, that, and the other. So when we got to meet her, like, because we were waiting like that day, like before they were rolling up like into the venue, it was in Glasgow, and she said my name, and I was like, yeah, she kind of pronounced my surname a bit weird, but I was like, yeah, blah blah blah. So she's just a beautiful, warm, compassionate person, blah blah blah. She came out to us, and we had dinner, or whatever you want to call it, not like pre-eating gig stuff, and I paid for it, and we were sitting there chatting away, and I was going through a difficult time at the time because it was actually before I was diagnosed with Lyme, so I was getting like seizures and tremors, and like I was just a bit fucked up in my head at the time, like depressed, and I decided to talk to her about it because she was very forthwith with her addiction troubles in the past, and she was just so wonderful listening to me. And my boyfriend ended up like, without her knowledge, like just snapping, like it's my back, like, but she gave me a big bear hug when we were sitting down, a really long hug, and it's just a beautiful picture, you know. And when she was playing the gig, it was myself, my boyfriend, and these two guys that we befriended, and we've been friends with them for years. They're wonderful. And she would just keep looking down at us and smiling, and we were just singing every word and stuff. Talked to her afterwards again and said goodbye and blah, blah, blah. And so when it came to me going to the Hopper thing in Dublin, I contacted Maureen on Facebook. And I said, Maureen, I'm heading up to a Jessica Hopper. She's doing a book reading thing. Is there, would you, like, I know you know her. Do you want me to say anything to her? And she was like, oh, cool. Tell her I said hi. Now, there's been like people out there that hate what I've done, and this person knows who she is, etc., etc. She absolutely despises me, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, friend Maureen Herman. No, I'm not Maureen's friend. And yes, I did use quotation marks friend to make it sound more credible what I was, do you know what I mean? Like, if I was to say, like, I know Maureen, but like,
right.
not,
Well, I mean, you're not gonna sit there and, you know,
I
explain yourself.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good opener, do you know, for what
to
I
make
was
her feel
about.
comfortable.
Yes, to ask a very awkward question, do you know? But I mean, I do. I love Maureen. I think her daughter's beautiful. I think everything that Maureen has gone through is just tremendous. She's turned out to be such a supernatural woman. But I haven't gotten to, I think a certain person got to, because I was trying to buy a couple of dresses from Maureen, and then the transaction didn't go through, and I gently reminded her twice, and she was like, did you not get the dresses? And I said, we didn't even do the monetary transaction, darling. Then I heard nothing, and then I emailed her again, and then I just was like, I think someone, and I named the name, I said, I think someone is after contacting you about me, and if they have, please hear me out first. You know, if they tipped her off, this one is fucking psycho. She used her name and she bullied Jessica Hopper, you know? But look, I haven't heard anything back from Maureen. And if she ever hears this, Maureen, I'm sorry if you feel that I dragged you into something and that you feel I did you wrong, because I didn't mean it in that way. I just thought it would be a nice opener, and it kind of did turn into a shit show because I did not think that Jessica Hopper was going to respond in that way. I thought she was actually going to, and this is what another thing that I was talking to you about the other day was the question that I wanted to know. It was, so he's sitting on the bed, he's chatting away about her shaved head and stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, there are so many different aspects to when somebody feels suicidal, you know, if we want to just hone in on that. Sometimes people can be really happy and they get all their things together and they're just like, they're really happy and they have it all sorted out and what to do. And I really wanted to know, what does she think of how he was, like sitting there and talking and stuff, okay? Because I had told you, I said, so many people in my life have committed suicide. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, as the Wiper song Doomtown, I actually think that this is Doomtown. Anybody can check up the Wiper song Doomtown. Doomtown. Anyway, I'm not going to sing. So I was telling you about a friend that I did. She went to college with me every single fucking day. She was fabulous. And near the end of the first college year, she, like, when we would text, and I'm a big hugger, I'm very lovable, I'll send texts and I'll send kisses, blah blah blah, and she'd never send kisses back, but you could see that there was a lot of love in her, you know. She had a lot of trauma in her youth. Okay, so on the Monday, yeah, I had an electronics exam, and I got a text from her saying, "How are you, blah blah blah, best of luck in your electronics exam," and there were kisses. And I remember, excuse me, I got a burp, I'm drinking sparkling water.
It's okay.
And I remember, you know, when you just stop in a moment in time, but like afterwards you go back in hindsight and go, I remember stopping in that moment in time and going, huh, that's odd. She put kisses at the end of her text. She never does that. Oh wow, that's so sweet. And that was the Monday. And on that Wednesday morning, I woke up to a voicemail from her sister that had been sent at about 4:30 or 5 in the morning, like crying. It was like a really long voicemail that she was gone. And I still was like gone. And I remember then ringing somebody else I knew. And it was only until that person said that she was dead, because I was like, you know, when it just doesn't hit you, they're still alive. They're somewhere. And this person was like, no, like, she's dead. And I just fell to my knees. And like, as I'm saying in hindsight, it's like the signs. And that's why I was kind of like, I wanted to know, did Jessica see anything at all, you know? She, you know, like, I probably could have had a better question, but I just was like, I didn't want to go, I think that you're involved in blah blah. I don't think that's right. You can't do that. Because I've spent time with Dylan Carlson, right? I've spent time with Chad Channing. I find it's very fragile. You can't just go, so what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. I couldn't. And I was hoping to with Dylan, but I was just getting the impression of him that he, you know, I watched him, he was picking up his guitar pedals and his guitar and stuff. And I was chatting to his then wife, Holly, it's his second wife, I think they're got separated now. Dotes. But you know, I was chatting to him and I just got the impression he wanted to leave. And I was like, oh, so I just talked to him about guitar tones and what his music meant to me and blah, blah. And he was super sweet. Got a couple of photos with him and stuff and thanked him, gave him a hug. He's so small, he's lovely. And it wasn't the right time. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be insensitive. And just like with Chad Channing, I couldn't do it either, you know? I wish I had stayed longer with Chad, because I think he was a bit I think he was a bit smitten with me. He just kept staring into my eyes, like, and he goes, well, you're wearing a striped top too. He goes, this is the striped top I wore for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Nirvana, like, because he was in the crowd. I was like, no way, man, that's fucking class, you know. we had a lovely little chat, like, but I was just going, if I had hung around, because I had driven a long time, a couple of hours to go and see Chad as well. He's playing with his band, something cars. So he was like playing acoustic guitar and singing. But it just, you can't just go in like running. Hey, what, you know, you got to find the right time to be sensitive about these things. And I mean, a Q&A, perfect. Meeting someone like El Hefe, that was perfect to just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I met Pete Shelley, God rest his soul, from the lead singer of Buzzcocks. And we only met that they played a gig, but nobody got to really meet them after the gig because they were kind of being herded out the door, and we just happened to be at the back, so got to meet the lads, and I got to give him a kiss and a hug. My God, I will cherish those photographs. But I brought Cobain up with him, because I was like, you were on the last tour. I said, how did you find him? Like, and he just looked at me and he said, that was not expected. He said, I did not expect that death, like, at all. I was like, really? So I was just like, I just tried to little bits and bobs here and there, trying to see how people felt. But he just gave me that impression of, whoa, I didn't fucking expect that death to be imminent or suicide or anything, you know. And then sure, poor Pete died. Oh, my heart.
Yeah.
But and then I was sending you on all those audios of Hole's first drummer, Caroline Rue, saying that she didn't really know it could be possible that somebody could have had something to do with his
And
death.
Carolyn Rue dated. Oh, sorry, hold on.
Oh, she
Click the wrong-
dated the
Click
mentor.
the wrong button. Yeah.
Yeah. She used to live with El Duce.
Right. So
And-
that's that connection.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, there's no way around it. It's for sure that Courtney has come across El Duce in her life because her bandmate dated one of his friends, or one of his bandmates. So
Yeah.
and that was back in the, like, was it 89?
Yeah. And for the
Something
fact
like
that,
that.
like, even Caroline was saying that she lived with him and she had nothing bad to say about El Duce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I could have lived with him and had a fucking laugh and a half with him. Like, just be like, oh, get off the fucking couch. You're on your 10th can already today. Ah, you know. But I just, you know, like, even I think it was just like him going. I think his eyes popped out of his head like a cartoon character going, $50,000 and you want your old man? What? Like, and then he probably was like, this is a crazy situation. Do I do it or not? Like, that's how I think he just perceived the whole thing. 50,000? What the fuck's going on here? But yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking, well, who knows? Who knows what she was up to? Because she did call the place multiple times as well.
Oh, she did, yeah. She did.
So
And then even asked the guy in the rock shop, would he do it? He was like, no. Fuck off, you skank. I could smell you through the phone.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I covered that. Even Kim Shattuck laughed about it in an interview. She says somebody brought up Courtney and she was like, yeah, but I don't have people murdered. I was like, what the fuck, Kim Shattuck? I love you. Yeah, so I found that. So many people out there that are literally like, you know, I know it's just.
So what do you think needs to happen?
Well, for a while I was literally like, his case is closed. I can't see it being open. Like, I don't know what can be done there unless, like, there can be loopholes that the Seattle Police Department can be sued or something. That's something that just wrecks my head as to, can something happen through Isaiah's case maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you see, can the case be reopened or what the fuck?
Yes.
Like,
Well,
it can.
yes, the case can be reopened, but the decision makers are not going to want it open.
Right.
So I don't think we're going to get, well, I don't know. I'm still, like, trying to figure this out myself too, but I don't know that we're going to get a lot of support from the state of Washington and what we're trying to pursue. I know it's been a long time ago, but this is a high profile case and they're not going to want to put their department under the microscope. So if we were to pursue that route, I think it would be very frustrating.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the loopholes is, the FBI investigating this because there are some elements that they're looking for when they're looking at investigating closed cases, and those are one would be if there's corruption in public office. So if we can prove corruption in the Seattle Police Department, for example, that could be one thing that you can claim. Another thing is, for Courtney Love, I mean, this whole entire time that this took place, she was in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And the murder, took place in Seattle, or the death.
Yeah.
So that's, she was calling the entire West Coast, organizing, orchestrating, sending people here, sending people there, sending Eric on an airplane to go to Seattle. Like, this is all orchestrating and conspiring across state lines, which would make it, federal jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that that's the route that if there can be, a strong enough case, but by this point, I truly believe that like this just needs to be looked at by the right people. And
Yes, that's
because
yeah.
this is like, okay, so Kurt Cobain died, but let me tell you that everything that was happening in that household was illegal
Yes.
in one sense or another. Not only did they have, Dylan. Well, let me put up my little photo of all of my people. Oh, I took it down. So you have Dylan. Where was it? What did I do with that photo? Well, anyways, okay. So you have, like I said, Dylan. You have who's bringing over drugs. You have Callie and Renee, who both admittedly, in Everett, were saying that they were, quote unquote nannies, but really they weren't capable of really doing much for a child. They weren't capable of like taking care of themselves, let alone a child. So, the premise that they were nannies, live-in nannies, that's bullshit.
It is.
At the end of like what it boils down to is they were Courtney's.
So was Jackie Farry basically the main nanny, and then she just used the other lads as other nannies, but they fucking weren't at all.
Yeah.
So Jackie was literally
yes. And then with Jessica Hopper, what also was very concerning for me is when she describes in Everett how she met Courtney and Kurt. That was concerning for me. So let me just pull up that passage.
Yeah. Is this Jackie Farry? Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about Jessica.
Oh, Jessica.
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back at
Back
I just want to show. I took some notes. Oh, now I lost it. Okay.
Nice.
So this is from Everett.
Mm-hmm.
So she says she was 15 years old and she lived in Minneapolis and worked at a record store. And she started fanzine where she gave a positive review for Hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then Courtney had the baby, which means this is August 1992. Yeah. And she said that she sent Jessica a 16-page letter where she talked to her about her life, about how she wanted to move to Minneapolis, how she's so young and cool. And, Courtney started sending her gifts, showering her with compliments. And then also oversharing with her, like sharing very private and personal issues with a 15-year-old girl
that she never even met.
Yes, and you can see in this passage from Jessica that she was kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like she wasn't accepted in Minneapolis, and Courtney was kind of like, the witch of Hollywood back then because of Vanity Fair. And so she says she was talking to me about not having an identity of her own and how gross and disgusting she is and how becoming a mom was. So those were all what sounds like inappropriate conversations to be having with a 15-year-old girl. And to be paying, sending gifts, those are grooming behaviors.
Yeah.
So that was like, when I was reading this, I was like, what? It's really, really concerning. So then, so then Courtney Love would also send her photographs of Kurt and Dylan and them, like exclusives that no one would have in the fanzines, and so people were wondering, how does she know Nirvana? And then this is where my red flags really went off.
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Really, really went off. People were behaving oddly towards me in Minneapolis. So Courtney had Janet Billing buy me a ticket so I could hang out with them in Seattle for a week under the guise that I was going to look at schools. So she had a grown ass woman. Remember Janet Billing
Trying
from
to be, yeah.
yeah, she was Courtney's manager,
Yeah.
and she was at the intervention, and blah 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 blah. So Courtney had this grown ass woman fly a 15-year-old to Seattle for a week.
Yeah.
That's so inappropriate.
It's crazy.
So then she said Kurt and Courtney would be locked in their bedrooms. They come out, and I'd probably run some errands
Yeah.
with Courtney. I took a cab to Capitol Hill and did record shopping. One day they had me hold a microphone, and they were so they were falling over each other, blah blah blah. Kurt was withdrawn, but he was always really funny. Anytime he was around Francis, he was really alive. He would talk about weird things he was obsessed with, a documentary about animals or children in another country. This is from the timeline.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, isn't that just inappropriate?
Like, that's the thing about Courtney, though. There's been so, like, oh my God, since the dawn of time with that woman, all she has ever done is deal with minors, manipulate minors.
Yes.
And there's always been
Oh,
drugs
thank you.
involved, drugs or sex involved, something to manipulate them. Drug, sex, and money, actually. The nice three that will lure someone in. You know, I remember telling you that, had you heard about Stephanie Seymour's son? And you said no. And I said, just had happened across an article of him. And I think it was earlier this year. And he was 25, I think. And he died from a prescription overdose. And this article was related to Courtney Love. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, read down further. And it said that when he was 14 or 15, that he ended up saying that, Courtney Love was always the only person that would be up at like 3 or 4 in the morning when I needed someone to talk to. What grown ass woman is going to be there texting or talking away to a young boy?
That's sick.
And then how strange, once again, Courtney Love and prescription drugs, and that poor boy dying then of prescription drugs, like getting involved in it. But he supposedly met her at a party, and that they bonded over mythical something, or was it to do with Rome mythology or something? And I'm just like, yeah, okay, leave the boy where he is then. Don't be fucking constantly messaging him, or like, it's just really everything. But she even still to this day infantilizes Kurt, doesn't she? She's always like the boy. Like, I know with us all getting older now, you're kind of like, man, yeah, he was really young. He was only in his 20s, blah, blah, blah. But like, the boy, the boy. You're just like, what are you insinuating, Courtney? Like, but yeah, she's just filth, like. I know you're going to laugh at this, but I want to say this publicly, because I didn't want to put it on my channel, but I want to say this. Nobody here knows this. Nobody. But everybody here knows that Courtney lies about her age, okay? And I think I'm the only one that has actually put together that her real age, okay? I hope you're all listening now. So Francis Bean Cobain did a podcast with, oh God, what's his name? The drag queen, the famous drag queen. He was in a picture with Kurt.
Girl, I'm not good with names, so
Oh my
maybe
God.
someone in chat will help us.
Yeah, he's famous. He does the brilliant drag show. RuPaul, thank you, RuPaul.
Thank you.
Yes, so
Yeah, thank you, Louise.
yeah, Francis Bean, and I'm so sorry to everybody. When I'm chatting away, I'm here like looking up at the ceiling or the wall. So I mean, I will read all of these messages once I'm finished. So I'm so sorry, because I'm new to this, so I'm so sorry. And it's
no worries.
It's not a laptop I'm on a stupid little iPad. So, but so Francis did a podcast with RuPaul a couple of years back, and she turned around and said, She was talking about her mother, how her mother is and the whole thing, and how her mother didn't have like a family dynamic. And she was talking about her own dynamic with Silva. And she basically said, well, my mom got married when she was 29 and had me when she was 30. Now, she said it
Whoa.
without anything. Now, if everybody knows, Courtney's supposed birthday is July 9th.
64.
Right? So if she was 30, July 9th, 1992, she is turning 60 next year
Mm-hmm.
because Frances is going to be 30 next year.
Wow.
And on her 53rd, her supposed 53rd birthday, on her Instagram account, she had a load of them there. There was Callie, there was her sister, there was Jennifer Finch. Oh my God, there was more. And there was this like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
they're
great.
all
Yeah, this is
they're
great
all
for.
still like
Oh, they're all still in contact, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it and it was like, this is so nice for a surprise birthday. And I was like, who has a surprise birthday for their 53rd? And then when I realized what her real age was and put it all together, I was like, that was her fucking 55th birthday. Because you can have one for your 50. You know, if you're 50, then you're 55th. The bitch is turning 60 next year, lads. Because her own daughter said, my mom got married when she was 29 and she had me when she was 30. So there you go. I've left it out. There you go. Fuck you, Courtney, you old ass bitch. Yep. No amount of plastic surgery will keep
So what
that
about
out of the way.
What about Hank Harrison and them? I mean, they and her mom even says it was 90 or 64. Why?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, let's do the whole.
Well, oh
thing.
yeah, hold on. Math is not my strong. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me do the math. Girl. All right, so she's a little bit older than what we thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, she was 30.
Which will make her 60 next year. But I'm going to do the whole Trump thing and say, show me the fucking birth cert, because you could do a quick Google and it will only show the birth cert of her stepfather Rodriguez. But I haven't seen the one of both Linda and Hank, you know. So I'm not putting pressure on you, Hank, if you're listening. Love you, man. I've great chats with Hank. He's a cool dude. He's a knowledgeable dude. Very knowledgeable.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
is.
he's really with it for a guy of 81, like really with
Exactly.
it. You know?
I was a little bit taken aback when I spoke with him because here I am, like, just be gentle, it's okay, and he's like, are you okay? Like, go ahead, shoot away.
He is no old man. Like, he's got like a fucking brain of like a 25-year-old. It's just he's in the body going, oh fuck.
Yes,
he knows damn well, and he'd still be like, hey man, he kind of like nearly still talks like the hippie days or whatever,
Oh, he sure does.
Yeah,
I found that very what's the word, cute, I guess.
Cute, endearing and cute. Yeah,
endearing, yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I like people that like their animals because he loves his dogs and they have like their horses and stuff. So, people like animals. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird like that. Like, when people take care of their animals, then they're nice people, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
a
lot of people would say bad things about Hank, but like, you've got to take into consideration a lot of things he said. The one thing that struck me about him was when he said in an interview, he said, I got a first class insight, or something like that, paraphrasing wrong again. First class insight, man, into her fucking mind. I know how her mind ticks. And I was like, wait a minute. If that was my son and he was doing what Courtney did, I'd be the very same. I'd be like, I fucking know how his brain ticks. I know exactly what he's done. I know. And that really made me think. I was like, maybe, yeah, he fucking does. He does, because they're the same. But he has sorted himself out, He sorted himself
they are
out.
the same. They definitely are.
Yeah.
You know what he told me? I started laughing because it's just, well, I didn't start laughing on the phone, but, internally chuckling. Well, as you know, he's an author as well. So he was telling me about one of his books, and he goes, believe it or not, but I am the greatest author who's ever lived. And, I thought he was joking, like,
Yeah.
but no, he was dead serious and he just kept talking like nothing happened. I was like, oh, there it is. That's cool. Yep. It's in
Yeah.
the genes.
Yeah. Gotta have confidence. Keep with that
Gotta have
confidence.
it.
Why not? Yeah. I must check out some of his other books, actually. I never have, but I should. But like I've said to him before, I was like, Hank, you actually know more about like Irish mythology and ancestry than I fucking do. Like he could just like rant away, and I'm like, what? Who? I live here. It's green. Okay. The accent's all right. Man, he could just like waffle off so much about Ireland, and I feel like a fucking so dumb. But sure. I mean, I'm the most gorgeous person on the whole planet. Hence, I don't show my face on YouTube because I would break the YouTube. So if Hank
You
could
are
say,
gorgeous.
if Hank,
So.
fuck off. If Hank
No,
could
you
say
are.
he's the most amazing, or I'm joking, Natasha, obviously. So don't take me up literally. That's the joke I put up there when guys were like, "Will you show your face?" I was like, "I can't. I'm so gorgeous. I would break the YouTube." And I love calling it the YouTube. I was like, it'll just like literally go the Matrix. She has shown her face.
A lot of people give me crap for not going on. Excuse me. But I do it kind of deliberately because I would rather people absorb the information than get distracted by, whatever they can find to focus on. So I like to present. I don't like to go on camera, but I do like to present visually. So that's kind of my thing. So when I don't have visuals, when I don't have my little show and tell, I feel like I don't know I don't know what to do with my life, what to talk about. But
yeah. Well, I prefer like just my playing to be focused on, And then I get comments on my legs and I'm like, yeah, damn it, I fucking grew these legs all by myself. So thanks. Thanks.
Yes.
I've had a lot of comments as well going, are you a guy? And I'm like, well, like, do you know what? I don't fit into the conventional big tits and ass woman, okay? There are some women with figures like me that have the torso of a 12-year-old boy and childbearing hips. What can I say? I'm sorry, Oh, it's not my fault. I have no boobs. Leave me alone. But my boyfriend's like, take that as a fucking compliment. They're asking, are you a guy? Because maybe they think you're as good. Like, I know that's really like sexist to say, are you really as good as a guy or whatever? But it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm a guy. Whatever. Hermaphrodite. Whatever.
I just put Twist's channel in the comments, so make sure you subscribe. And she does badass covers too. So.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I did it to keep myself sane. I just decided to do it last year with the pandemic, keep me sane. And you put the guitar up and then you're just like, yeah, I've been playing a while, but now I'm just playing an awful lot. And I crochet. I do other stuff, Yeah. Keep myself busy. While doing the case as well, following the case. So,
well, and there's a lot to follow here too. So
Christ.
you've been around for much longer, and I can't imagine following this case for so many years and then, not be anywhere still. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I can't get over is like, okay, we're not going to discuss what had recently happened, but I'm bringing up what I've encountered over the years is Jesus, like so many people end up turning against each other. Not necessarily like what happened just there, but people that are integral in the case. So many people have turned against each other and rumors, and you don't know what's true or not. And I'm literally like, what is wrong with everyone? Like, seriously, why, like, it's and then they're kind of taking new routes in the narrative, and I'm my own little person, and I'm here, there, and everywhere, and I know this and that, and I'm just like, what is that person's objective? Why are they doing that? So why is this happening here? And it doesn't do much for our side, as in, why are they against that person? And why are those people that are integral? No, I'm not talking about what just happened there recently, because those people are not integral at all. I'm talking about the people that are integral. have fallen out with each other, and then there's this person that's doing that, and then they're going off and doing a project, and you know, that's what boggles my mind from dealing with this for so long. I'm just like, I don't understand that. It'd be much better if people kind of work together, you know.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot that they just want. I don't know. Maybe I get the feeling that they just want the. Not necessarily the fame or anything like that, but just the. I don't know. I'm done. I can't even think of the word to describe it. I don't even want to say it, owning. I don't know. I just don't know. It's just too. There's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of backlash. There's a lot of, and it shouldn't be like that. Like, you're literally like, guys, seriously, the fuck, like, just will you all just stop and just calm down? And you know, I don't know. I'm sorry. I sound like I'm rambling about stuff that people might not be able to understand, but I'm not actually talking about what just happened. I'm talking about a lot of other people that are integral to the case. I just wish people weren't, you know. Yeah.
So I started kind of, I don't know if you see the screen, but I started kind of like dumping just random information into this presentation here. And so I just started compiling all the people in Courtney's life that have died or passed away, who have passed away. And I found it interesting that in her diary, Dirty Blonde, you know, there was this one page that was included, and it wasn't one page, but the one page that I'm talking about. And she talks about, you know, her ex-lovers. And it's almost like a collection of the people who she dated who have died. So that was kind of weird. One of them was Joe Cole, which you mentioned him earlier.
So Courtney dates a Joe Cole.
Yes. Here, let me read.
Wasn't he
let
a
me read
roadie
this
for
to you.
Hole as well? I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Go on. Yeah. Read it there.
So So his murder is actually still unsolved. So this is Henry Rollins. Rollins. He was with him.
I love him.
But here's what her says. Her journal entry says. So he was Aries, however you say it, shot in the motherfucking head by some satanic land shark. Yeah, I'm sorry. He was black, okay? When coming home from my show with Henry. Stood up for me always, brave and strong, and understood women more than anyone. Roaded for us our last tour. We watched a guy die in Baltimore, shot in the head at our feet.
Read that last bit again. You're just kind of breaking. You know what it goes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Try again.
Let me try my different microphone. Hold on.
That sounded good there. That sounded nice and clear and sweet.
Okay, good. Second. Okay, so where was I? Yeah. Watched a guy die in Baltimore, shot in the head at our feet, made out at 4 a.m. just to prove we were alive. So that's one. And then the other guy, see, she says ex-best friend. And this one's Rob Graves.
Rob Ritter.
Ex-best friend, right? Pisces junkie faggot taught me every chord I know on guitar, drummed for my band for 10 minutes, knew every punk rock song, and made out with Darby. Was in the Bugs, the Nymphs, and 45 Grave, all female led. Had rad sex one stoned night, lived off of my strip money for months. I was glad to share it. I used to stare up at the violet lights when I lay on the floor. I can't see. During blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so she says, how do you think he died? Well, he died of a heroin overdose. So then
Jesus, like how many people do we know that have that many deaths around them, like surrounding them? It's crazy.
Yes. Oh, and then yes. Okay, so I want to. So that's these two guys. This is Detective Antonio Terry.
Yep.
That's the one.
I still think, I think it came up somewhere on something that somebody said that it was definitely just shot the line of duty. I actually think that was the setup and he was murdered. I really
Yeah.
do, Natasha.
Well,
Yeah, I really do.
here's the story. So I dug into this. This is the perp, one of them, Quentin Irwin, and the other
Yeah.
one's name is Eric Smiley, I think. So
Mhm.
they were both convicted. But here's the story. So Detective Terry was off duty and he was just getting on the expressway or whatever, and there's a car that looked like it was broken down, and there were
Yeah.
three guys in the car, and he stopped to help them. He wasn't in uniform. He didn't, well, that's disputed in the appeals now, but the guy who shot him, both of them are actually fighting over who shot him. But anyways, bottom line is they shot him like on the spot and without warning or anything. It just was a random killing just for no reason. So that's sus. Like, that's a little bit suspicious, but it happens. It happens. So I wanted to look at this Quentin Irwin guy and the Smiley guy. And I wanted to I was like, what do you get for murder? You get life in prison, right? Especially if you kill a cop. I can't find this dude.
No way.
No, yeah, no, I can't find him. He's not in the Washington, State of Washington Department of Corrections list, unless they charge him federally. I didn't look up in the feds, but here in 2015, he was wanted by the DOC for escape. Like, at some point, they released him. Like, what is going on in Seattle? This is a cop.
How long was he in jail?
They can't. Well, I can't tell because it was broken up into, like, first they took him in, then somehow he was released, then he was taken back in for crack cocaine, then he escaped again. Like, he keeps getting new charges. So I'm wondering, how the hell do you get out of prison after murdering a cop?
Yeah.
How?
And,
So
and the first cop
nothing makes
to get
sense.
murdered on duty in 9 years in that county.
Yes.
So like that would have been a big bloody deal. A big fucking deal. That got like
huge.
That should have been, that should
And
have
he
made
was
mainstream news, like.
Absolutely. And he was a young father.
Okay.
He left a child behind, a family, a mother, a wife, and the guy escaped from DOC. Like, what?
What the fuck?
Okay. So that's Antonio Terry, right? Then we have this is a medical examiner, Nicholas. And Nicholas also he was also he
Would
did
you
something
believe he put on a show back in '88 that Courtney Love's first husband, fallen James Moreland, was playing his Leaving Trains band, and so was Nirvana. They both played the same show, and Nicholas Hirschhorn put that show on. Isn't that crazy?
Just insane.
Just
insane. So Nicholas over here. So there you have it. So he was somehow in that whole world. He liked punk music, and he was described by people as being kind of odd sometimes, really like just really like this weird dude. He had a fascination with, like, what was he collecting? Yeah, he was collecting shit from, like, the morgue and stuff. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
And he also had like an addiction. He was like a adrenaline junkie. He liked to
base jump and stuff.
Base jump.
Yeah.
And in 2002 he died base jumping in Switzerland.
But he got a rotten death. It's like he bust off a load of rocks, like, on the way down. Just like,
it was a really bad. So he performed the autopsy on Kurt Cobain, the problematic autopsy. Well, I don't know if it's problematic. I'm sure the autopsy is fine, but he determined the cause of that death to be suicide, or the manner of death to be suicide, before the toxicology result came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, like, so he's the same person who performed the autopsy on Kristen Pfaff.
As
So,
well, which is odd because he didn't even have the
mhm.
full credentials. I think he was just being an intern or something at that time.
But
wasn't
it
he?
was, I looked at the death certificate and I looked at the whatever I saw in the notes, and he was supervised by what is his name? Donald Ray, I think was
Yeah.
his name, the chief medical examiner. So he did perform the autopsy and everything under his supervision. So,
Okay.
but still,
But I mean, wouldn't that guy that was over him be like, wait, you can't rule this is suicide
right.
until, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, be professional. You're
But
the
that's what I
boss
mean.
there.
It was like, it's what do you call it? Negligent. It's
Oh,
completely
absolutely.
negligent. Like they completely, and I can't tell at this point. See, this is where I don't know if she was in cahoots with this Nick guy, which wouldn't surprise me because obviously she has connections everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I've worked with old school supervisors. Like I've had a supervisor in one of my clinicals, who was trained in the Rorschach, in like 1950,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
he's still telling me about how they used to score it, and it's just like, dude, like you're literally like useless in teaching me anything, but your
Yeah.
wisdom, like I'll take it,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I know that like sometimes, shit like that happens. So I kind of like give it, but in this case in particular, considering all the connections, I can't say that I would write it off as, as coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then Kristen, of course, died of overdose in her apartment the night on the eve of leaving Hull and moving back to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Like, how convenient is
How
that?
convenient. Exactly.
2 months after Kurt Cobain's death, Kristen decided that she was leaving Hull. She had gotten hooked on drugs and had gotten clean and wanted to just go back because she was a musician at heart. And I think Kat, how do you say her last name? I never know. Is it Kat?
You're breaking up again there, babe.
Damn it. Hold on.
Are you there?
Let me switch my mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. Is this better?
Hello? Yeah, just sounds more
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, keep talking. Hello.
You know what?
Control to Major Tom.
The connection.
Commencing countdown, engines on. I'm going to sing the whole song.
All right. Can you
you sound a little further away now, and it's going. I hear nothing. Silence.
Hold on.
It's just me.
How about now?
Yes, there's my girl.
Okay, good.
Hi.
Thank you.
Yay.
Hi.
Glad I didn't have to sing the rest of the David Bowie song. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Right, where were we?
Yes,
Kristen.
Oh, yes, Kristen. So,
she hated being in Hull, and she was such a magnificent, like she was a classically trained musician.
Yes.
You know? She just really did not like the dynamic of being in Hull at all. And it's like she even questioned when she was offered it, like, and to leave like her band Janitor Joe, she was like, will I, won't I? And they were kind of like, yeah, just go for it. And then I think she asked, was it Maureen Herman? Was she like, okay, I'm useless at stuff like this, but she was like, do I get paid per show or do I get a salary or whatever you want to make it? I forget. It could have been Maureen. God, sorry, Maureen, if I'm quoting you wrong. But she was advised what to do anyway. I don't know, was it paid by oh God, what do you call it? So if the album sells, you get what?
Royalties.
Royalties, yeah. Was it being paid by show or was it to be paid by royalties or something? So I forget which one. But yeah, she just really hated the dynamic of who wouldn't.
It was toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really toxic. It was. So yeah, so she died on the eve of moving back to her house of a heroin overdose, and conveniently, Eric and Courtney are present. Well, Courtney wasn't, but Eric was. But then, according to her, she called Eric, or Eric called her, and then she ran over to Kristen's apartment.
Now, I have thought about this as well. This whole quote of Courtney saying, she was his girlfriend for a very long time. He loved her. He kicked down bathroom door after bathroom door for her. I'm just saying this off the top of my head here. But when she turned around and goes, I had to pull him off her body. A lot of people are like, I'm just throwing this out there now, right? This is just me spitballing off the top of my head. Like, many are saying, were they there and she had to pull him off her body while she was lying limp over the bathtub? Or does Courtney mean that she had to pull him off the body when he had jumped, when he was just making a spectacle of himself at Kristen's funeral? It's not actually specified. I've thought about that. Like, I'm literally like, maybe Courtney means that when at the funeral, because he wasn't wanted there, and then just was making a spectacle of himself.
Well, let me check. Let me check her biography real quick, because I feel like she's. Oh, here she is. So. June 13th, Courtney. This is from her biography, Courtney Love, The Real Story.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading the passage of Kristen. On June 13th, Courtney called a meeting of her band. They established that nobody wanted to quit, but agreed to take a 2-month break and go on tour in the fall. Kristen wanted to take an extended vacation in Minneapolis, visit old friends, and play some gigs with her old band, Janitor Joe. I pretty much laid it out, Kristen told a reporter a month earlier. I said to my band, look, if you want me happy and sane, I just need to get back home. On the night of June 15th, she had a small going-away party at her Capitol Hill apartment. When everyone left, she ran herself a bath, injected herself with heroin, and slipped into the tub. Eric found her slumped in the cold water the next morning, head and arms draped over the side of the tub, black hair hanging down in a ragged curtain. She had died of an overdose. Kristen was 27, the same age as Kurt.
So that's from a Courtney Love book, like, right? Because I was literally just going to spitball there and be like, if she had had a party, could she have been drawn into somebody offering her heroin at the party and being like, fuck it, I'll have one that shot before I leave, Well, so you have to look at it.
I was listening. Yeah, of course. I was listening to what's her name? In that documentary, Hit So Hard, and the impression that I got from how they were talking about her was that she had just gotten back from rehab with Patty.
Yeah.
And yes, that is like, a vulnerable time. But the way that they described her, it was like she was just mentally exhausted and done, and she just wanted out of there. Like she wanted to be gone. It wasn't about taking a 2-month break. Like she wanted to be gone.
Yeah.
She wanted to go home. And her family actually also seems to think that, there's some questions.
And isn't there is that is true? Like, isn't it that some of her diary pages were ripped out?
I haven't gotten that far yet, but
see, I always have all these.
I haven't heard that
in compartments in my brain, and then I'm like, where did I?
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, but yesterday I just bought. Her mother wrote a book about her, so I just got that yesterday.
I haven't
started.
I don't know if I finished the last few pages or whatever, but it's heartbreaking to hear from a mother speaking about her daughter, and but she did say that Kristen had said after Kurt passed, I really like that guy or that boy or something. Yeah, here we go with the boy again. But I really liked him or something. Oh, I'm very bad at trying to remember what but I have it there. Yeah, it's very sad. You know?
Yeah, here the diary was returned with the pages torn out. Yes.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was on
So,
those pages?
well, I mean, and then I was actually a little bit shaken by this next death, and this is Jennifer Adamson.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about you, but talking about these people like really just gives me just a weird feeling in the pit of my stomach. Like there's just something off with this. But so Jennifer Anderson is the half
Adamson. Yeah.
Adamson, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a half sister to Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
And they're a pretty big family, but
yeah,
what a tragic family, seriously. Like
yeah,
this family is, I mean, just tragedy after tragedy. And I'm not going to try to remember because I also suck at remembering, but I'm not going to try to remember what exactly happened with her other siblings. But as far as her, so she was living in Seattle at the time. She was Callie's girlfriend at the time. And in Everett, Renee Navarrete says that Callie and Renee got into an argument or got into a fight over Jennifer because they both dated her at some point, right?
Now, what I don't get is with the Jessica Hopper, she knew about Jennifer Adamson. Like, what's this whole?
That's where I think the holes in the story are, because that when Jessica mentions Callie being gone for 3 hours between midnight and 3 a.m., here's what doesn't make sense to me. So in her account of what happened, she says that, they party, he burns the carpet, he tries to get more drugs, but the cards are canceled. He gets mad. And so the bottom line is that he was getting mad because he wasn't having any money and he didn't have any drugs. And then all of a sudden he's gone for hours on end, getting high, nodding out, like being messy, sloppy from the amount of drugs. And she even said that there was a Narcan shot or whatever, at the little table next to the TV. So they were preparing for death. Like she says, there was a feeling of death in the house. It's like they were preparing for it. So I'm wondering, how were they able to get drugs? And, try to thinking about it from a perspective of a drug user, like severe drug addicts will steal from you and help you freaking look for it. They were living in Kurt Cobain's house.
Yep.
What do you think they would do? Of course, like sell some of Kurt Cobain's shit. The same shit that he possibly complained about being missing and was worried about burglars and intruders. Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love and Frances Bean, the family who lives in that home, we're all in California while Callie, a drug runner or gopher, as Hank calls him, is living it up in their mansion, at a rock star's mansion.
I never understood how, like Kurt could be like, he could be quiet, he could sit in the corner, watch what's going on. Yeah, but this, that, and the other. I mean, when it came to the band, just like with Dave Grohl, you can see that Dave controls everything in the band, right? And we knew that Kurt did as well in Nirvana. Like he would choreograph everything. The last thing would come down to if Kurt said yes or no, blah blah blah. Why? Like, was he just extremely busy, maybe on tour and stuff? Like, why did he let a lot of these things slide and be like, get them motherfuckers out of my house? I want security people in the house. I want blah, blah, blah. I mean, I will always say a lot of people will paint Kurt as a saint. He was a fucking human man. He was a human guy. He was no saint. He did drugs around his daughter. Yes, we know he loved his daughter unconditionally. But they were high off their tits like around the child, and that's not on. It's not on. But he did love her, and I do feel that he had an insane amount of guilt for doing that and feeling like the addiction and the need to do heroin, and then he'd see his baby and he'd be like, oh my god, I'm high. I just get that feeling that he would feel so much guilt, you know. But for
Yeah.
that fact he was no saint. He you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I just never understood why he never took like action to kind of go, why he let like shit like that slide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she did say that he did ask her to
Get fucking Callie out, like, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, but again, that would all be reasonable to assume if we're talking about a normal couple, but there's nothing normal about the two of these two, you know.
No,
and I feel like the timing of their relationship was also crucial, because it was right at the time when they started skyrocketing to the top. And it was a time when, Courtney, the mess that she always is, and the what appears sociopathic traits, she's always able to manipulate herself into or out of a situation. So I don't think that Kurt was necessarily, how do I put this? Like, I don't even think he saw her coming. Like, I don't think he realizes just how dangerous she is and was. And I think that towards the end there is when he started
to see it. Because I've always said when she kind of bulldozed into his life, he was trying to get his head around the band completely fucking blowing up, because they were after coming back from they were touring, and then they didn't realize that Nevermind was going to blow up as big. So they already had then this tour planned, and it was still all really small venues that were being jam-packed out. So I mean, he had the best time ever, like playing that when it was like, and they were so busy, so he didn't actually
loved that
realize
tour.
Yeah, and he didn't realize how much, like, somebody'd ring him and go, oh, you're actually top of the Billboard charts. And he's like, what the fuck, really? So so she bulldozed herself into his life. Okay, so he was like, they were getting high doing heroin, which was probably so much fun, having amazing sex, fucking her up against the wall, all the shit that's documented. So like, and then he just thought that she was a lot of fun to be around, because she could like stand up, throw a glass, just be spontaneous and loud, and she was informative. She had a lot in her brain. They talked about music, they connected, they just did this really, really fast connection that you can imagine in your life, meeting someone and just being like, oh, I think this person is fucking perfect for me. And then because of the sex or whatever, I'm sure they didn't think condoms, none of that. She gets pregnant. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I hope people here realize he wanted her to have an abortion because of the drugs. And she was the one that said, no, I'm built like an oxen. Like, and they went and they got it all checked out, and the fetus was fine, blah, blah, blah. So they continued on with the pregnancy. So then, like, things just started kicking off, and then they got married. Like, so it's just like, oh, like he's young.
It was like
He's
a
like
roller
24.
coaster.
He's 24 years old. So then when everything is like, so she's acting erratically, she's pregnant, right? So he's going to be like, okay, like, now I've got a wife. So he's 24. I've got someone that I call a wife. I love her. She is a bit crazy and stuff, but I kind of like that about her. And she's like a feminist, and she's this everything that she manipulated him into thinking that she was, because I totally believe that she really wasn't. Okay. So it goes along in the pregnancy, and then like when the Vanity Fair thing comes out, he's just in this whole fucked up mindset of, I have to do everything I possibly have to do to protect my wife and child, not realizing that she's the one that's causing it all for some end game. And he got caught up in it and caught up in it and caught up in it. And I really think that it just didn't take until 93 when they started having like the craziest of rows, and she would ring the cops and lie. And then the cops would come out and she'd go, well, no, he's not. And you know what I mean? It get written off or whatever. So
Well,
he
here's.
had to-
Oh, sorry to interrupt
No,
you,
no.
but here's the first one of the first cop calls was what I believe was the first attempt. Anyways, that was May 2nd, 93,
Yeah.
and I was trying to think like what would be a motive for something like that, you know? And again, you know, it's like she, according to herself, with regards to this Britney Spears thing, said, you know, follow the money, follow the money.
Yes.
And if you follow the money, you know, in May, June, and the summer of 1993, he had turned down that Lollapalooza too.
He has.
So he wasn't playing along to her tune.
Where you are right now, you're perfect. Just let you know, right there.
Okay, I'll stop moving.
Yeah, stop moving. So yeah, he had turned down the year before Lollapalooza as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where were we?
So
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was
the
Jennifer.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
Jennifer Adams.
Yes, I wanted. So Jennifer. Okay. So she was a girlfriend of Allie. What the hell? No, Mama Bear.
We're at this point now. Going, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Oh, it's past 2 hours. That's why my brain can only do a certain amount. Okay. So he was. So Callie was dating Jennifer. So was what's his face? Renee.
Yeah.
They didn't. They they were like whatever. Didn't get along, and that's where Renee claims that he was in Los Angeles. That he left. That he was there March 30th, and he wasn't in Seattle at all. So Jennifer, yes, she's a girlfriend. She is also the one who was with Callie and Bonnie Dillard at the house where they did the last search, right?
Yeah, on the 7th, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they saw the shadow.
Wasn't it Bonnie who said, "Oh, I thought I saw a shadow over the greenhouse"? Like fucking turn the car around, any douchebags.
Well, So Jennifer was interviewed for Heavier Than Heaven, and she said that she said that she was the one who said fuck it, like just keep driving, keep driving or whatever. So she was a drug dealer. She did drugs, whatever, and then so that's that. She was interviewed in 1999, I believe.
Yeah.
1999 for Heavier Than Heaven. And at that time, she was living in Missoula.
Okay.
And she was 30 years old in 2000 when she died.
Oh.
And and she was working as a what do you call it? Oh my God, why is my brain farting? Like a caretaker, a senior caretaker. just like what's his name? Isaiah. Isaiah was working as a caretaker. So she was also working at like a nursing home. And I just found it odd that, this woman, this 30-year-old woman who obviously had a dark past at some point, got it together enough to get clean and go to school for her nursing or whatever,
Yeah.
And then finally is 30 years old and is working at a steady job taking care of the elderly. And she dies of a heroin overdose.
She was slumped over the table or something, wasn't she, in the facility? It was something like it was.
So not only that, right? Now she died in May of 2000. In October of 2000, her mother, who also lives in Missoula, in October, she went to Seattle, Washington for whatever reason, for something. I don't know. She was there briefly or whatever. Boom, car accident, dead.
No
in
way.
Seattle, in King County.
Was there a
Seattle.
reason for them? I didn't know that now about the mom. Was there a reason for her to be in Seattle?
I can't remember. It was in the article. It was something.
Was she up
I'll
there to
look.
try and find out something? I wonder.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like,
Mm.
damn it, you know, because it's like,
Mm.
but that was really odd. So the mom lives in Missoula, like they're from Missoula, and she died in Seattle in a car accident, a hit
It's
and run.
it's like lining up all these little like soldier men and just going bloop, bloop,
Yeah.
to all these people involved in the case. It's
It,
fucking nuts.
so her story definitely gives me just the creeps. Like
And you know
really.
that she was so close to actually meeting up with Macaulay after so long. They had a
No, I
date set.
don't.
Yeah, I think I read that in an article. They had a date set, and it's very tragic that didn't transpire.
Yeah, I'm just looking what I have here.
What have we got here?
I don't even know. Yeah, I was thinking about the note too, you know,
Mhm.
because I was thinking, because if Eric was there on Monday and like that was the other thing. When did he dye his hair brown? You know, because I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to go too far out into conspiracy land, but the fact that that cab driver said that, you know, whoever he picked up didn't match the residence, you know, it just really doesn't sit well with me.
But the cab driver, I mean, it was like an affluent enough area. Would he have just been like, you know, fucking what a junkie looked like? Would he be like, like whoever the cab driver was, would they just be like, well, a person that looks like that now wouldn't fit in this area? Could it be something just as
That's
simple as that?
possible.
You know?
Yeah, it could be because I did look up the cab driver and I found him.
Very
And
good.
yeah, it looks like he came over, like he's an immigrant. He's from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
So who knows how long he was in the country at that time.
Yeah,
And
and
so it's
and that's
possible. Like there are many things that could, you know.
Kurt could have come out of the house there and he'd just be like, yeah, he just wouldn't suit somebody to come out of a house like that. You know?
Yeah.
Could be something like that, like, yeah.
And that's the frustrating part because there's just these simple answers,
Yeah.
that, you know,
what was it you were asking about Eric Erlandson's hair?
Oh, when he colored his hair.
Well, his hair was dark for like most of the 80s when he first met Courtney. And then
I meant in like during this time, because he was blonde, and then where did I see him with brown hair? It was around the time that Kurt died too.
He did. He was gone dark again then, wasn't he?
Yes, right. That's what I mean. So when did he dye his hair? Because who the hell got into that cab? Like, I don't know.
You're trying to find out like what color hair like the person had.
Yes.
Because, like at the end of the day, if the cab driver, the Ethiopian guy that you're saying, if he was to say something like that, right, the person didn't fit to live in the house. Everybody that was going in and out of that house didn't fit that estate as such, you know.
True.
I mean, Courtney was even stated that they were the scum of the estate or something. She thought it was hilarious, like, you know what I mean?
True.
So everybody that went in and out of that house like did not fit to go into it. So I mean, it could have been fucking anyone, but it was a male, like, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, I've accepted that it's Kurt, because, but then it's still, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me because it could have been anyone, but then if it was Kurt, right? So he comes home at 2:00, and like, you know, what happens for the next 5 hours? Like, I don't know. There's just too many holes in this story. So, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with my digging.
Didn't Courtney find? Do you know when she's going through letters and stuff with Tom, and when he catches her out, and she was like that she had a letter underneath her pillows. And she was like, no, I did. And he was like, well, no, Courtney, we pulled myself and Dylan pulled the whole.
Yes.
But she was like, it was in a long white legal envelope. It was blah, blah, blah. And it's like, doesn't that spell out like that Kurt had left her a fucking legal envelope, like literally divorce papers, left them under the pillows? And I read somewhere else that that Courtney would always like put stuff under her pillows. You know, if she had anything that was like under the pillows or whatever. So Kurt left her like a long white legal envelope under the pillows. So
Well, and then here's the other thing that I was thinking too with our friend Jessica, because she says that, you know, she gets her timeline all mixed up too, but either the 4th or the 5th. Oh, I went too far away again.
yeah.
Sorry. Either the 4th or the 5th. She said that Callie was looking, you know, he was searching the house or whatever, and she said, and that's when he took the note up. She wasn't there when Tom found the note. So what I was thinking is, first of all, what note did he take up there? And second of all, if he did have this note, you know, prior to the 7th, did he take it up and put it on the bed and then realized when no one found it, you know, like took it back down and put it on the stairs? Or what note is Jessica talking about? What note did he take upstairs? Because Tom Grant makes it clear that the note wasn't there or in the bedroom when him and Dylan searched it.
Yeah.
So I really, and these might be simple things, but the fact, like listening to Jessica Hopper get so defensive, it's just like, girl, I'm just trying to find out when you went home. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
You were steamrolled out of there like so fast. So fast.
And the fact, and like, she sounded really distraught, like throwing up and scared, and it just sounds like she was in this, you know, house of horrors.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not just the drugs. Like, yeah, drug scenes, drug houses can be scary. But yeah,
But it must have been. Do you know what part actually does freak me out? Is like when you can just imagine walking in and around the house, and if it's empty, and kind of like hearing footsteps. At that part, like I really feel for her when she's literally like, so she's in the room.
I would have frozen.
And she hears the footsteps and she opens the door and she's like, "Hello," and I'm literally like, "Oh my god," she must have been just petrified. Like she's a fucking child.
There's several people that it could have been. It could have either been, oh well, from what we know, okay, from who was there officially. I don't know if there were any ninjas walking around. I don't know about that, okay? But just from what we know.
I gotcha.
Like process of elimination, you know, it's Eric. It's Eric, Callie, and Kurt Cobain. Those are only 3 people that could have been inside of that house when she heard noises. And that neither of them would respond to her if she was saying, hello, who the hell is there? Knowing that a 17-year-old girl is alone in a huge freaking house.
Do you think Kurt would have at least been like, hey, it's just me?
That's what I mean. Like someone would have said something, but the fact that no one did indicates that some shady stuff is going on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure surely, like, you know, because Kurt was sensitive and he was he was a feminist. He wasn't about traumatizing people. He didn't want to harm people. So, you know, would he have killed himself in a house where he had a bunch of, you know, doped out teenagers staying there?
No.
You know, so those are all things that need to be taken into consideration when considering that.
And people say as well, oh, he was a feminist, but no, he wasn't a feminist because of what he said to Victoria Clarke and the other lady that were writing.
He later actually, oh shit, I wanted to talk about that. I have it in a note somewhere, but only God knows where. But I did hear or read him talk about that, and he kind of gave an excuse. Was it with John Savage in the interview that he did?
I think so, yeah.
And he was saying that he didn't mean that. Come on now, like I was in a bad place, and of course that's ridiculous. Like he basically like backtracked.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, well, it makes sense because during that time, I think it was like they were at the, you know, peak, at the height of their relationship.
Yeah.
And and so from my understanding with the Victoria Clarke situation is that Courtney kind of recruited everybody, even family and friends to leave threatening messages on her phone.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
But it's
Talk
really
about
weird
rambling.
because
Now I'm rambling.
it's really weird because they got the go ahead to even go on the tour with Nirvana, and like met Kurt, met the lads, thought that they were really nice. Yeah, just were allowed to like walk around the whole lot. And when they came upon, all right, there was this Vanity Fair thing, and word got out that they had tried to contact Hirschberg, and once that got out, it was literally like fences locked down, boom, locked out. Like Courtney put her foot, she was like, this is not fucking happening. And obviously got Kurt in on it as well. Of course, he would be like, I'm not fucking dealing with this. I'm not having it brought into a book, another thing. So, they just got vilified for it. And as a matter of fact, I think Victoria has, if you Google it, she has a whole kind of blog stream about
I
it.
read it.
And
Yeah.
and she basically was like, I never thought at the time, but thinking back now, if I was to put myself in their shoes, I forgive them, and I feel really bad. They were a young couple, they had a young child, they were going through a tough time. I was like, oh, yeah, I'd still like to talk to her.
Yeah, I feel like in the last, year or so, I feel like Kurt grew a lot.
He did.
And learned a lot about the industry as well, and found a niche, or however you say it.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah.
For himself, I feel like he was starting to get comfortable. I feel like the Unplugged was really kind of like his gig, like it suited him well, and that was something that he daydreamed about too. And so like there's just, and I pinned a comment here. C. Wired says he wouldn't have killed himself because of Francis being alone, and I agree with that. I think that
geez, that it is one
there's
thing.
no way he would have abandoned his kid, like no way.
But then, like in the
In my
note, it's
opinion.
like, I don't want her turning out like me. Courtney, keep going. But it's like, why would he say to another junkie, "You keep looking after my child," and someone that was
Especially knowing.
someone that was way more unhinged than him.
Exactly. That's
You know what I mean? He was quiet, a bit brooding or whatever. That's okay. That's okay to rear a child like that. That's fine. You're lovely and sensitive and quiet and blah blah blah. But you're literally going to the really unhinged, loud, fucking promiscuous, crazy one. Oh, you'll take care of her. What? I mean, no. No. I don't buy it. I don't think he would have left her. I really don't.
No, I don't think so either. I'm convinced, but again, it's tricky, and especially whether or not people want to believe it. But yes, I do have a doctorate in psychology, and with suicide, it's always Kurt fits the mold. He's a young adult, middle age, whatever, white male.
Yeah.
They're at like the number one high or risk factor is being a white middle-aged man for suicide.
Yeah.
And then we have the note, then we have the car, then we have all these little things that when you put you could say that it was a suicide, but when but those are like circumstantial kind of things that you kind of like have to put together. When Kurt himself, like using his own words, would say like, no, I would never do that. So I just find it amazing how she was able to just weave this story together for people to not even like question it, to say that, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, go back to the internet. And it's like,
which I did.
the only conspiracy theorist in this story is Courtney. Talk about conspiring.
But I mean, and as well, I mean, seriously, Ciesynski put his foot right into his mouth, all the way down his esophagus and back out his arsehole again. When he turned around, it was literally like he took the highest dose that this county has ever seen.
Right.
Like, he, that, like, I looked at that and I was like, "You're the biggest fool I've ever." Like, come on, you were re-looking at the case, kept shaking her head. It was nothing. There was nothing really for me to look at. It's still the same. Blah blah blah. But went on about his dose. Okay, none of us have seen the autopsy report, but basically it was like it was the most the whole county had ever seen, and then is trying to make us all seem that the rest of the fucking death scene was plausible. Everything nice and neatly put away and whatnot and the whole thing. And then there's all the detectives there, and they one second, just get water. And then there's all the detectives there, and none of them have like any gloves on or anything at the scene, and they're all just standing around going, "Here's my picture, how are you going?" Like, he's the key as well as Ciesynski.
Yeah.
He put his fucking foot in his mouth.
So Mirza says Kurt used to say in some of his interviews that he used to be suicidal because of his stomach pains. He did, and he also in those same interviews would say that that's not an option anymore.
Yeah.
He's a father. He has responsibilities.
He definitely changed that around once he had Francis. Like, he was like, "Yeah, my stomach pains are my stomach pains, but like, I'm not." And I mean, he endured it for a long time. He was able to lie on the couch, hold his stomach, be like, "I am in just hell. I get up and play a gig." And I know like the heroin would have helped those pains tremendously. But I mean, I don't know if I believe him when he said that he got it fixed. Maybe he got some kind of drug that did help it for a while.
Well, he did say that whatever the other one is, there's the buprenorphine, and then there's the other kind.
Buprenorphine.
Yeah, and then there's the other kind that he apparently discovered somewhere on some tour and started taking that, and that was helpful apparently, which was also another opiate blocker. I think he was just basically substituting.
Yeah.
Methadone, whatever it is, Subutex. Yeah. He was substituting and and he could.
Like, the thing is, with everything going on that was going on in his life, with everything that she was doing, and she had all his friends, like all of his actual true friends, she had them all like fucked out his life, and she brought in all these draggerins and gophers and shitheads, right?
I was so pissed reading all these books, just like, because I really didn't know. I wasn't familiar with the story, so that's why it's taken me so long, because it's like, wow.
Yeah, but you're not entitled to not know the story, Dr. B. So I mean, you should just stop where you are right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Stop. Fuck you.
But yeah, like, just I would get mad just reading, like, oh, here comes Callie and Renee. Now here comes this guy. Now here comes this guy. Now Kurt's surrounded by all these people who are like pushing drugs, pushing girls. Like, she was pimping. She was pimping. Like, she put advertisements in her diary.
Yeah.
Like, she was pimping.
Now I've
and
looked
Kurt,
at this. Yeah.
Sorry, Kurt was not about that life.
No. And he liked to have his privacy, especially if he wanted to like just do his heroin or whatever. And he didn't like to be made fun of. That was one thing that that really got him. Like, that really just, oh my God. But he wanted to be respected as well, But when I would think about the whole situation and how everything transpired, everything's gone silent again. Are you there?
Yeah, I muted myself.
Yeah.
Of course, people are doing lawn work around.
No worries. So, when you think about it, so everything, how it was like transpiring, and just everything seemed like Nine Inch Nails downward spiral, right? But you could actually imagine that would send like not just him, but you know, if I had been going through what he was going through with the stomach pain, and I mean, my mother only said there about a week ago, she was like, "Man, he had quite a tough childhood," and I was like, she said she'd watched something, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah," you know, and she was like, "Oh, it was really tough," like, and I was like, "Yeah." So anyway, I'm saying, if I had gone through all that, and then I dealt with someone like Courtney and what she'd done to my life, I could imagine it spiraling me into going, "Do you know what? That's it. I'm fucking out of here," as in off this mortal plane. So I could imagine it driving him to suicide. So you could go, okay, he committed suicide, but then when you look into the whole fucking suicide thing, it's like, that doesn't make sense. How could he have possibly done that? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a comment up by Ryan, and he says, didn't Kurt have two Cobain relatives that died of suicide? And I believe that's been debunked actually multiple
There
times.
was one, I think there was one, was he a cop or was he a security guard? And he he was sitting in a bar. I once again spitballing here, just flying out my mouth, stuff I've read over the years, and it's somewhere in a compartment in my silly little teeny tiny brain. But he's sitting at a bar, and did he pull his gun out of the holster or something? But it went off, and I think he got himself in the stomach or something like that. So that it wasn't an actual suicide, to be just like, you know, tragically ended up shooting himself. There was another one. What was the other one, Natasha? Can you?
I can't remember. I was going to ask you, but let me see in here. I have art books here, so I'm going to try to figure it out.
But I mean, just because people committed, like that was put out there, like by Courtney as well, as in there's the suicide gene. Just because guys, everybody here that's listening, just because somebody commits suicide in your family doesn't mean that, you know, it's in you to do it. I know so many people that their fathers have or their grandfather has. It doesn't mean that they're going to, that they're predisposed to be like, if you're feeling a couple of months of depression, it's like, oh yeah, my grandfather now, he killed himself, so I'm predisposed to have to commit suicide. I don't think it works that way. I mean, I can see alcoholism and stuff like, you know, that can be a genetic thing, but I mean, yeah, she just put that out as in, yeah, suicide was in his family. It was bound to happen. Shite.
Yeah.
And anything that he did or wrote down, like as a teenager, oh Jesus, lads! If I was to show ye, like if I was to able to, I burned a lot of them, but like any diary entries, you'd be looking at me now going, how is she not dead 500 times over? You know, the shit that you were talking about, or the shit you feel as a teenager, or you would write about, and people hone in on that. But he said this, he did this, and he's a teenager. What, like? Stop honing in on that. Like it's just, you know, I'm really rambling.
No, you're not. But yeah, I think that was definitely debunked. I don't think that actually both of those deaths that were attributed to suicide, I think.
Yeah.
Why can't I remember where and it was just recently I listened to it or read it or something. But yeah.
And I know a lot of people out there as well give his mom Wendy a lot of slack. I try to sometimes look at it from a mum's perspective and kind of be like, maybe he was fucking difficult little shit, and she was like trying to deal with having a new daughter, Brianne, and Kim, and just being like, Kurt, you're fucking wrecking my head. Go live with your father, or go live with blah blah blah. But it's just because he's got this like such huge status, iconic status now, that people are just like, she was a shit mother. I know they probably didn't get on the best of terms, but I just don't think people are looking at it maybe from a mother's perspective of maybe what she was going through. I don't think she had any disdain for him. Like, I'm sure she truly loved him, you know, but you never really hear or see anything from Wendy like a going that I want this of the Cobain estate, or I want that. She just seems humble. She just seems like, yeah, that's my son, and that's it. Like, she just, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know that much about her.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah.
It's Kim now. I really wish that I would be able to ask and talk to privately.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Mm-hmm.
super
Mm-hmm.
cool. And she looks way more like Kurt than Frances does. Like, I was standing in the room with Kim and literally turned to the side, and her side profile, it was like standing in the room with the man himself. It was just like, Jesus Christ. Absolutely spitting image of him. Spitting image. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know? But what else
Wow.
were we?
Yeah, there's just so much in this case that
So much.
wow. My mind is just, it makes me sad every time that I spend,
Like what?
okay, lawnmower guy. Anytime I spend a significant amount of time, like, really thinking about how he must have felt and what he must have been thinking, and,
Mm.
just going down that road, like, it's so unsettling. It's so scary, and it's frustrating to think that he never did get justice, or he never did
No.
get, never did get even the common decency to have his death investigated properly. Like, it's
Yeah, it's
enraging.
it's so wrong. It is enraging. It is. And I mean, I'm still like really wanting an answer for Mark Lanegan. He states that when Kurt got back to Lake Washington, he rang him, left a voicemail saying, "Hey man, you want to call over and listen to some records?" And look, Lanegan was strung out. He had his own drugs, and sometimes Kurt, like, because he was well known, he'd get Lanegan like to score for him. So Lanegan was happy out watching TV, and he was like, "Oh, he heard the message. He was like, I'll give it a miss." And there was another couple of calls. He said he'd give it a miss. And later that day, the phone rang again, and he didn't answer it, but it was another message, and it was from Rosemary Carroll. And she was like, "Mark, if you're hiding Kurt, let me know now. Because, like, none of us know where he is." And he just went, And then the phone rang again. So he answered it. And she said it, and she was like, "Are you blah, blah?" And he was like, "No." Like, why didn't he tell her, "Look, I got a voicemail off Kurt there, like, or whatever, a couple hours ago. He actually only asked me to call over to him, like, to listen to some records, like, he's fine." And he also, a couple of days after that, went looking for Kurt with Dylan and Tom Grant, and didn't bother to tell them, "Lads, just the other day, like on the 1st or 2nd or whatever, I got a voicemail from Kurt, like, asking would I call over to listen to records with him, and how was I, and blah blah blah." And like Tom Grant would have said, "Oh man, can I go over to your house, like, and hear that voicemail, to hear the tone in Kurt's voice? How did he sound? And why now is he saying that in his book? When he could, like, all he could have said, like, if people are saying, "Oh, he felt guilty" or whatever, why didn't he just say, "I was out at the time. When I got back, the voicemail was there, and then I had no," because back then, like, you had no number, like, to get back to them, to try and contact him back. I didn't have his number. And he's just fucking telling everybody now, "Oh, Kurt left a message to come over." What? That
Wow.
bugs the shit out of me. Like, seriously. Yeah. Really does.
Yeah, and he according to Tom Grant and, his recording, we didn't hear Mark on that recording at all.
No, where he maintains that he went in around the house with Dylan and Tom, and he stood
Yeah.
down at the bottom by the greenhouse, smoked a cigarette, felt an inclination to go upstairs and check the greenhouse, and then decided not to. He wasn't
Yeah.
there. He only went driving around with, yeah, he only went
He
driving
went to
around.
Caitlin's house. That's it.
Yeah,
He
and they
went.
scored some
He
drugs.
copped. Yeah, he copped some dope for free, and he went home. That's
Yeah, yeah.
that's the extent of Mark.
Or
But
I think
now,
he,
but
I
now
think
he's
he,
saying that he was standing there and smoking a cigarette and was thinking about going. See,
yeah,
that's the thing with these people. Like,
I think he went driving around though with what's his name? His surname is Connor from Screaming Trees. They went driving around all right, looking for him. But I mean, I just don't understand why you didn't tell anyone, lads. Kurt, like, left a message, but like when I read it, I swear to God, my jaw dropped. I was like, "What?"
Like when there's these tiny little facets of new information that just feels
Yes.
so big to me that I'm like, after all
Mhm.
these years, what the fuck are you talking about here? I need to talk to you. Like, what are you on about, you know?
That's how I
But-
felt. That's how I felt reading Everett.
Yeah.
Reading Renee's shit, reading Callie's shit, and reading Jessica Hopper's stuff. Like, that's where I was like, wow, what
Yeah.
is happening here?
Everett
What
wanted
is
Courtney's
happening?
vagina so bad. You know that, don't you? Everett
Uh,
True. He wanted
I've
in
heard,
her
yeah, I've
so,
heard some
so
stuff, but I don't know
badly.
the details.
Yeah, he really, really, really fancied her, and she knew it, and she manipulated it so bad. So when she
Oh,
did
yeah,
get
I
to the
bet.
UK, like, yeah, so when she did get to the UK, she was able to manipulate like a load of articles in favor of them and the whole lot to bring it up. And I think so. Kurt knew Everett, and Everett was going on and on and on and on about Courtney Love, a whole blah blah blah, and I think Kurt had met her or something like that, but he was not interested in her at all. Like, he thought that she was just too loud, too blah blah blah. And he actually picked up. She wanted a date with him, and I think he picked up the phone, and he said, "Yeah, I'll go for a date with you or something," in front of Everett just to fucking annoy him. And Everett was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah," and just put the phone down and looked at him smirking. Yeah, because yeah, he knew Everett really fancied her.
Wow.
But yeah, she gets around, gets what she wants.
Girl, she sure does.
You know?
Wow. All right. Well, my brain is officially done, but wow, just
This has
what
been
an
so much
amazing,
fun.
yeah, what an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. Like,
Oh, I love you so much,
and
girl. You're
and
amazing.
it was on short notice, and I
Yeah,
really
I was like,
appreciate it.
will I? Oh God, oh God.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
I am too.
You have a lot of support in chat, and you were brilliant. You were just excellent. So
So are
thank you
you.
again, just
Aw.
collectively from all of us. Thank you for
Oh.
asking the questions that you did of Jessica. And
Thanks, guys. I just wish it
yeah,
had turned out a bit differently, but ho ho.
no,
Maybe I'll meet her
you.
again.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's in Chicago, so I've
Oh,
reached out to her. Actually, I think
yeah.
I emailed her through one of her websites. You know how it has that little contact,
Yeah.
whatever. And you know, I don't know if she got it or if she didn't, but yeah, she's like right around my neighborhood. So hopefully,
I'll be on the way to Chicago, so
yeah. Well,
let's team up. You can hide in the corner where I'd be like, "Hey, you remember me?" I'm only messing. I would never do that. Sorry, I'm just messing.
oh
who I
yeah.
want to suss out is Lutfi. I'm coming for you, Lutfi. You cunt.
Well, I'm just concerned because you know I don't know what happened that night, but whatever it is that happened, and if there is some pressure or some, you know, blackmailing or whatever, like, I just keep thinking like she was a 15-year-old girl, like she was not even able to legally give consent.
No, yeah, exactly.
So you know her situation, like I almost feel bad for her, but at the same time I'm like, God, just get it together. Like, just say
Yeah,
what happened. This isn't
yeah,
about you, you know.
yeah.
This is about someone who was murdered. Like,
But a
and
lot, like,
it seems like a lot of these people in Courtney's orbit are just all about, you know, their success and their
yeah.
careers and whatever. And I don't know.
Then again, you know, people have kids and they might worry for their kids, and you just don't know. You just
Yeah.
don't know. You know, I
Yeah.
think Jessica has 2. She's 44 now, so I think she's got like 2 kids and stuff. So I mean, you know, probably brought up something that she's like, I don't fucking want that to do with this shit anymore. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
could be as simple as that. Like, but then again, she's there like smirking away in a picture with what's his name, Callie. So it's like they're kind of like we're all in your face. It's like there's Roddy Bottom, there's Joe Mama. They're all liking each other's Instagram things. They all still in contact, and you're literally like, what's going on? Like, because wasn't Rodney Bottom was sent up from San Francisco, supposedly up to Kurt to try and talk to him. I don't even know, did he meet Kurt in around that time or something? It's just all really weird. I'm just like, oh Jesus, man, I don't know.
And it's all her people, and it's all her,
yes.
and it's all her exes too. Like,
Yes.
you know,
She definitely
like,
turned
she
Rodney
has
Bottom
like,
gay.
yes, she
Yeah.
did. Yeah, and she had all of these people that she either had a fling with or had something with, you know, and she has these long-term, you know, connections with these people, and they're all in Kurt's life.
Yeah.
And they're all in Kurt's life. And here Kurt can't even, you know, send a fax over to Toby Vale without Courtney losing her shit or whoever, you know. So
But
it was
she always
really,
seems,
really toxic.
and she always seems to have this extremely conniving mind, like to do with like Mary Lou Lord, where it was her that wrote this fax like to Mary, like
Mary,
harassing
yes.
her. And then
yes.
attempting, was she going to pay Renee or Callie to like kill the dog, and then left a ton of harassing messages to Mary's her elderly parents. I swear to God, if somebody was to leave harassing messages like I get, like, I mean, if there's someone hanging out around my parents' house, I'm literally like, what? And I'll call over and I'll be waiting there, and I'm like, and they're like, what? And I go, fucking hold it, I'm going out that fucking door. Like, I get pure as if I'm Iron Man. And I'm no Iron Man. You can see my videos, like, I'm lean and I'm thin, but I swear to God, it's what's inside me. I'd lift a fucking truck for both my parents. So, I mean, if somebody like Courtney had people, like, harassing my parents over the phone, I would fucking do jail. I swear to God, I would kill them. I like, she is so vindictive. I just would wish something would come upon her, and I hate that I feel that about someone. But I just, I know all of us here that are listening feel that as well. You just want to see something. I don't know. She's yeah. See, I get worked up, guys. I could ramble here now for the next 6 hours, you know, and you'd just be like, shut up. But anyway. Yeah, I do. I get really, really, you know, see, now I'm only seeing the comments. Is Mary Kurt's ex-girlfriend? Mary Lou Lord was dating Kurt for a short time just before he met Courtney, and they were like kindred spirits. Mary Lou Lord knew, somebody had given Mary Lou Lord a tape of some of Nevermind's songs before it's actually released, okay? And she actually learned how to play a couple of them on guitar. So then, I forget how she met Kurt, but they were sitting down playing guitar one night, and she was like, I kind of know some of your songs. And he was like, what? So she started like playing some of his songs, and he was so embarrassed but so impressed. And then there's those photographs of him like holding up the Shona knife. She bought him like a hat and a thing and all this. And they he was like flying her over because she was working a job, and flying her over to come visit. And his whole demeanor and his whole everything about him changed once Courtney, I think they were in, Mary Lou Lord and Kurt were in a hotel room, and he got a phone call from Courtney, and I think she literally was like, I'm pregnant. And Kurt like just dropped Mary Lou Lord, just dropped her. Like, she had to make her own way back to Boston and everything. Like, it was heartbreaking. Yeah, my boyfriend met her years and years ago. He said she's the biggest sweetheart he'd ever met in his life. Such a lovely woman. So yeah. Yeah, she did date him. Sorry, see, I'm still waffling. And you're going to sleep now. You're just like, I'm done now. Okay.
No. I just want to play a quick clip that I clipped together. Because it was just too good. So this is just for shits and giggles.
I didn't know at the time that this was supposed to be an in-house rehab. I learned that later, but total farce. I mean, most of the time I was with her, she was either on drugs or doing drugs. There was nobody overseeing what was going on there.
Stop it. Seriously, or I'll kill you.
Kill you?
Well, hello to you too, you know. How you doing?
Yeah, so that was my little clip.
There's so many clips like that I could just mime because I've analyzed her out so fucking much. Like, it's like crazy.
I've absorbed her. Like, seriously. I've absorbed
I can read her like a fucking book, man. Seriously. And I don't know, there's another thing that people should buy. It's The Fix, it's called. I think you can get it on Amazon. It's like £2, £3, £4 or whatever. And it's so crazy because it's all about her giving up drugs, which is crazy because she ended up going back on him again. But the guy that writes this, it's like a very short, it's like a long article, an overlong article. It's very interesting. But she ends up like telling, like he explained, get your words out. He is off like writing it away or whatever, and you know the way she's constantly in contact going, what are you writing about, don't say this because blah blah blah, don't say that. But at one point she actually contacts him and says, if you blah blah blah, I would fucking kill you, like pretty much like that shot there.
Yeah.
And but he still gives her the benefit of the doubt in this written thing, the fix. And it's like, I'm like, is he saying that because he's scared or what? Oh my god.
But I feel like everyone sees her as this tragic, just drunk girl that just like stumbles around, doesn't know what she's doing. She's just wacko. You know, like I think they just, well, I don't know. I don't know, but there are obviously people who have felt threatened by her. Trent Reznor, for example. She's tried to set people on fire. She's tried to kill people. She's thrown shit at people. Like she's violent. She lies. She cheats. She steals. Like everything. Just a walking textbook definition of someone who's antisocial and just criminal. And that everyone's just like, oh, Courtney, she's so silly, ha ha ha. Like,
I mean, what was that? Jim Barber, yeah. And the girl that he had in the house, and Courtney kicked in, and she fucking toppled whiskey all over her and went to light her.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
she lit her first husband's bed on fire with him in it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I had a friend actually from school, I remember like 15 years ago or more, and we met up. We hadn't seen each other for years, and she was going out. She said she was finished with him then, and she was going out with this psycho guy. She was telling me all these stories, and he did the very same. He tried to light their bed on fire while she was in it, and I was just thinking to myself, I know a story very like that.
Yeah, that's because that's what psychopaths do. Like they set shit on fire. It's kind of like their thing. You know?
And you feel sorry for Frances because when she tried to get, I think it was when she was trying to get emancipated, she was like, look, you know, my mother is living on this and this, like, you know, no food and all that, but like she's put curtains on fire. She would fall asleep in bed with a lit cigarette. You know, that poor, like, she's not a child now, but back then I was literally like, the poor child. Like that was so unfair that she was living in such a toxic household with that nutbag. Why wasn't she evaluated to be psychologically ealated to be a steady mother or whatever you want to call it? Do you know?
That's where the state failed. I think, you know, whoever it was that gave them Frances back, and I don't necessarily agree with them like taking Frances away. Like I don't think that would have been the appropriate measure because they did have other adults in their orbit, more responsible adults in their orbit that, you know, could have. Whatever, they could have worked something out, but
they could have, yeah.
But after Kurt's death, actually, you know, she did go through like a really bad episode that apparently like never ended, and you know, those are like, I don't know, it's just everything in this case is just so messed up. And then, you know, here you have like in the normal everyday world, you have regular people who, you know, someone was saying earlier, and you know, I don't pay my traffic ticket and I can't get a freaking driver's license, you know.
Jeez.
And this chick is like, and Courtney's like walking around with like bodies on her belt, like, you know, whatever.
It's kind of weird. It's like Courtney's getting away with shit in America that you'd think she'd probably get away with here in Ireland, because like watching YouTube and when Americans like are fighting and they're literally like, nobody will kind of put their hand on anyone because everybody's like sue happy. I'll sue you, I'll take you to court. And it's not like that here at all. Like, nobody gives a fuck about saying, something to someone. And it's just like, what, like, and if somebody wants to hit someone, they will. Or if they want to pile drive them, like, fucking lift them up by the legs and just go, poof. But, like, there's no, like, people just walk away. Like, there's no fucking Gardaí involved and people, you know what I mean? It's just like every time I see videos about Americans, just like, what is with these people? And they're all in each other's fucking business and I'll sue you. But she gets away with all this crazy shit then. And I'm just like, something's not making sense here. Like, honest to God, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Igor says, in less than 2 years, Courtney met, married, and inherited everything Kurt owned. Pretty impressive thing, considering Kurt was almost homeless before Nevermind.
I've always said what she has achieved, in a sense, she got into acting. She got into the mute, right? She got into acting, kind of failed for her. She got into music. She met Kurt, made it was a great album, Live Through This. Then she went back to Billy, blah, blah, blah. Impressive for where she's gotten to today. I've often just sat and gone, fucking hell, girl. Like,
literally
sick.
She's just chilling. She's chilling. She's cruising. She's fucking inventing shit, like philanthropies and shit. Like, sit down, Courtney. Sit down. You are not a feminist or a woman's leader, and no, you're not gonna speak for us women, and no, we're not gonna quote you. Well, we will when you get deposed. Oh, you better believe it, girl. You're gonna be roasted on this channel right here.
I just wish she was like, she's only across the pond from me, and I'm just like, I have the cash. Could I just go over there, stake out a place for a while until I catch her out walking with her little fucking Pomeranian? Have a knife. Oh, is this your Pomeranian? Slash the head off the Pomeranian. There you go.
Oh my God. Not the dog.
I don't know.
At least get some.
I could do that and then just go and see her face, and then
just take the dog and run.
Yeah. She'd be like, "Oh, my poor dog." So fuck you. But no,
she doesn't care. Her dog died eating a fucking boob silicone. Like, she doesn't care. She was neglectful to Francis.
Yeah.
And that's her own child. What makes you think that she would not neglect an animal in that same manner?
I think this is the longest time she's actually had a person or an animal in her life. That's, I really do. Yeah, I really do. And
well, they do say that personality disorder is kind of like simmered down with age. So
right. Yeah.
But who knows? Like, she's just full of surprises. So we'll see.
Yeah. But I'd love to, I've always said this. I've said this for about 20 years. I'd love to have a locked room. She can't get out. It's just her and me. And it's recorded, but it's just her and me. And we'll see her trying to overtalk me or get out of stuff or trying to manipulate or whatever. And I swear to God, I wouldn't want water, food. I could last and last and last. And I'd love it. I would love
I
to
feel the
take her
same.
out.
I feel the same way about Chris Watts.
Yeah.
That's another case. It's a family murder that we've been researching for a longest time. And he's another one that just can't breathe without lying.
No, it's unreal.
Yeah. So that's kind of always been my, like, if I could just sit down with this motherfucker and he would sing by the time I'm done with him.
I get you.
He would sing everything.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
That's how I feel about that. But well, thank you so much, girl, for being here. I'm going to end it now. But thank you. This was amazing. I really appreciate you.
I really enjoyed it. Thanks for kind of just going. I know you were like, no pressure, but I was like, but you did say, you were like, look, it'll be so much more fun if it's live. And I was
isn't it?
You're so right.
It is.
You're so right. I was like, and I was like, oh fuck, can I get my headphones? I'll do this. I didn't know what to do, but yeah. Thank you so much for thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you
And I
did
love you
great.
so much. And I just think
I love you
everything.
too.
Oh, and I think everything about this show is great because you're analyzing it out. You're like a true crime, it's true psych. You know what you're doing is just better than what I've seen so far. It's just phenomenal. And
It is a
keep going.
criminal case. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
criminal
Yes.
case. So we
Yeah.
we can continue to romanticize it. We can continue to, just beat a dead horse.
Mm-hmm.
But the facts, the facts are there. And I truly, truly, like, that was something that, I looked forward to because I was a huge Nirvana fan.
Yeah.
And now, like, I'm in my 30s and I'm all grown and I know things and I learned things. And wouldn't it just be amazing if I just went in fresh, like completely fresh, not knowing
Absolutely.
anything?
Yeah.
And you said your jaw dropped. Like, mine stayed dropped for a couple of days. So now I'm
Yeah.
here and, truly just looking at it from like a
It's good for someone to have a new
forensic
perspective. Yeah, and a new perspective on it, like new eyes on it is just absolutely great because you're going to have new questions and go, what about this? It's somebody be like, never thought of that. That's great, And I can see that already with you. Like you're pulling up this, that, and the other, and you're going a little deeper with this and that. So it's amazing. Amazing. I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
thank you. No, I do too, but it's just frustrating. Like, it's frustrating anytime when you have people who don't want to talk and who are just kind of closed off and, so it's frustrating, but even so, like, I'm grateful for the amount of information that is out there and for the people who, did speak out and for people like you who have done so much work on this case, just out of their love for Kurt and out of their desire for justice to be seen in this case. So
yeah,
but someone asked, okay, Rosie asked what's happening with Isaiah's case. So just really quickly before we get so Isaiah has retained an attorney, and that's all we know. So that means we didn't hear anything for a long time. Like, I didn't even know if he was like missing, if he was kidnapped, if he was what happened with him, and then all of a sudden, in July 12th, I think it was, he appeared and he got himself a lawyer. So the next step is in November they have a case conference hearing. So that's when all of them will either, well, not all of them, but the attorney, whoever, will either meet virtually or in person to just go over everything in the case. Just bring the new lawyer up to speed. They have a new judge now, so they're going to be bringing the new judge up to speed as well, which, by the way, this is their third judge. Like, why do you need so many judges, Courtney? And every time the judge was changed, it was at her petition.
it was at her request. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, but the guy that Silva got is sounds like he has a lot of experience in murder cases and in civil court and federal court. And
excellent.
Yeah, he looks like he's competent at what he does. So I'm praying that he'll be looking at all of this. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind.
And just so everybody knows, on Twitter, like Courtney and Lutfi are still in contact, and he speaks really well of. Yeah, he speaks really well of her. Like, he's.
God, that makes me sick.
Yeah. She supposedly has a restraining order out on him, and blah 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 blah. Oh, he had a post up like about her being like an iconic rock star and this, that, and the other. That guy, you can see it in his eyes. That he's a sleazebag, manipulator, evil, and I'm not into like good and evil stuff, but he is evil to the core. He
definitely is. I mean, oh God, it just makes me sick just thinking about the voice or the phone calls that he had with Silva's
Jesse.
ex.
Yeah.
Jesse. Yeah. Oh
Disgusting.
My gosh, the things that he said and.
He does like a montage of fucking abusive words, like motherfucker, you know what I mean?
He's a horrible,
and
nasty shit.
sexist and hate speech. Hate
horrible.
speech.
Horrible.
Straight up hate speech.
Yeah. And the thing
And
is,
this is, oh
what's
my God, so
what's horrible to see is that there's so many people for Britney, for the free Britney side,
Mhm.
that keep going, oh, Sam, all along I thought that you were the bad guy, but no, I've got to give you a break. Like, you're not the bad guy in this. And it's literally just crazy. You
Well,
know?
right. They're spinning it. They're spin doctors. That's what they do.
Like, it's great to see. I saw somebody like putting up comments like, oh no, read the case thing. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
brilliant, blah, blah, blah. You know, at least somebody has to let them know, like, that
I should
he's
tag his
involved in-
name.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, I should tag his name in my previous video where I played his phone calls.
Yeah.
So that people can stumble on it and hear who he actually is and what he actually does for a living.
Because I keep an eye on it, on things, but like, I won't comment on anything. I'm just like watching it. But when I see some comments that people have copped onto him, I'm literally like, oh, thank God. But they're in the minority, you see. Like, so many people are literally like, oh, I had you wrong the whole time. You're just like, oh God, you know.
Well,
but, yeah.
this is how I think about it. Ultimately, like, there in any case that you talk about, there's going to be like those emotional people get emotionally triggered, you know,
Yeah.
and those kind of people, like, they can go from 0 to 100 real quick, and to 100 meaning like assholes, like stalking, harassing assholes. And so it would get frustrating when you're trying to like get people to see, you know, no, you got it wrong. But you really gotta like let them find out for themselves. And the way that I think about it is, I don't care if you know, Joe Schmo believes me on YouTube about what I'm saying, as long as like that one right person hears it.
Yeah.
It just needs to fall on the right set of ears, and that's it. And for me, like I said, I think that the FBI route and, you know, proposing that they investigate, and I'm sure that there already is something going on under you know, underground with all the trafficking stuff, and everyone's falling now for that. So
yeah,
who knows? But I think that that's, you know, that's who I'm worried about convincing into, you know, about this case. So
yeah.
All right, but now for real, thank you again, everyone in chat.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
so much for being
I
here.
want to thank everyone. As I want to say again, is I couldn't read out anything. I was kind of talking to the ceiling, but I will read back on all your comments. Everybody's so lovely, and I love you all. And people that have commented on my actual channel, like on the covers and everything, it's been so non-toxic. It's been absolutely wonderful. I'm so delighted I took the venture into just like playing music. So thank you so much. And I want to thank Dr. B, because I swear I have made a friend for life. She is the most beautiful woman I have ever come to know. We chat. Yeah, you. Oh, girl, you are just so wonderful in every way. And I mean that, like, you're such a good soul. People need to know that you are such a good soul. It's astounding. I need to say that you're fabulous. You're brilliant at what you do. You're thorough. You have no qualms about admitting if you have a little mistake. You're there. Sure, don't we all, when we're trying out something, when we're doing something?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah,
I did
misspeak with Jessica's age. I said she was 15 in 1994.
Sure, what of it?
But she was 17, so she was still underage.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, it doesn't change matters. Like, you know what I mean? It still doesn't change the fact that like what was going on is sick, and it shouldn't have been going on. So of course, I remain teachable, you know, and I remain
as we
open.
all do. And I want to give big love to Jen Lou, and I apologize for the lack of humor tonight, because I probably talk so much that Jen didn't have time to talk, because I get pure serious and passionate about it all. And I want to thank the team Psych
the true team, Psych team. I just want to thank you all, okay? And thanks for having me
Yes,
on. I love you
of
all.
course.
Okay.
Love you too. And thank you so much again. And
Thank
we'll
you,
talk
darling.
again.
We will, I
You're
would love
welcome
it.
back. Yeah, you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, I would love it. I would love it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay.
Yes.
Take
So
care,
thank
girl.
you.
I love you.
Love you too. And you have a great day. And everyone in chat, you guys enjoy yourselves tonight. And thank you for being here with us.
Love you all in chat too.
All right. Well, good night.
Night. Bye bye.